And we are live. What's up, guys? Starting late as always, but if you're a PWF fan subscriber, then that should be no surprise right now. So today we're joined by Mindful Attraction 2.0, not 1.0. And so it's going to be an interesting podcast. So everyone enjoy. So for anyone who's not familiar with you, man, do you want to give like a quick 30-second to 1 minute summary of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, well, dating for men and women. I have a very good understanding of both sexes when it comes to giving dating advice, and I think my perspective from both sexes, coaching men and women every single day for like the past 5 years, have given me a really good insight on human nature, and I use that to help people improve their lives. So that's pretty much like the simple summary of it. And I call it mindful attraction because I use the mindfulness to deal with the emotions and in the attraction, which is more of the tactics that you use. But without the mindfulness, you're gonna grow bitter because you will get rejected. So you got to learn how to control your emotions in the midst of it. So that's the purpose of the name.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because you call your channel Mindful Attraction, yet you also call yourself the toxic dating coach. So those two are kind of like contrasting. How did you come up with that? Like, why do you call yourself the toxic dating coach?
Well, because I had to come up with something that initially it was mindful attraction, and I thought of changing it to mindful seduction because it makes a lot of sense. But one day I was watching a video about this toxic streamer on Twitch, and he called himself the toxic streamer, and I'm like, that fits me. So I'm like, I'm gonna call myself the toxic dating coach because it gives me more liberty to teach darkest shit because I embrace, what I'm saying. I don't call myself the toxic dating coach for men because it's so easy to use it against me. You know what I'm saying? Like with men, I've noticed that this channel gets demonetized more often than the women's channel, and I'll be teaching the same shit. So I gotta play the game right, and I only call that with women.
Right. I mean, if you taught like the same stuff for gay people, it would never get demonetized. Just saying.
No. They definitely get discriminated against on YouTube, 100%. Thanks to help men.
There's some weird shit going on with that. But okay, so let's kind of get into your backstory. So how did you get started with all of this? And like, let's start from the point, like, what made you get into game in general?
Well, what happened was when I was a kid, I was into spirituality. I was into Christianity, and all I wanted to do was actually to become a preacher. I was celibate. I wouldn't meet women. My life's goal was to devote my life to God, pretty much, right?
Interesting. Okay.
Huh?
That's interesting.
Yeah, you got to think about it. You're a 14-year-old kid who's saying no to women. Like that's not normal. And I got very deep into it to the point that it became very spiritual. It wasn't a religious thing. It was a very, very real thing. I would fast for like 3 or 4 days without eating. That's how devoted I was. And then when I was 18, I stopped doing that for some reason. I got bored of it, to be honest with you. And I was a preacher, so I would teach a lot. So I learned how to teach. Like,
so you were a legitimate like church preacher?
Yeah. I was an evangelist.
Okay.
From like 14 to 18. Yeah.
Okay.
So I taught every day. I mean, every other week, like once a week for like 4 or 5 years, explaining topics to teenagers that are very hard to explain. So I enjoy teaching. I always liked being in front of people. And then I got to college, and I realized that because I was so into Christianity, I kind of my developmental growth in terms of talking to people and women was kind of stunted. And I was very naive. I thought people had good intentions. I thought people wouldn't play you. I would never imagine people could be so. I started going out, started noticing I was really bad. I couldn't get women. Women saw me as too much of a nice guy. And we all know that story. From like in college, I had some success because I was I was decent looking, but I just didn't have the success that I wanted. And I would dabble with game, but I was never consistent. I'm saying I watched PUA training, Adam Lyons, all those guys. And
what age did you, sorry to interrupt, but I feel like this question is wrong. What age did you lose your virginity at?
It's like, I think I was like 21.
Oh, damn, dude, you're later than me. I was 19, and I consider myself an extreme late bloomer.
Well, bro, I mean, you know,
21.
I wasn't.
You got me beat.
Oh yeah, yeah, bro. I mean, I was, bro. I stopped like I'm thinking real when I was 18. From that before on, I was just into religion. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like
Mhm.
I didn't have any desire for it when I was a kid. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to bang women, but you know, it was like I couldn't do it because I was gonna go to hell. Anyways,
Right.
so then in college, after college, I became a therapist, and I met a girl that was really hot. I mean, even to this day, she's actually one of the hottest girls that I've ever been with. I got so lucky. But what happened was I got so lucky that I could never replicate it. She broke up with me, and it was devastating because you know the problem when you're dating a woman outside of your league, it's very hard to replicate that. You know,
Mhm.
and you have a hard time getting over that because every woman you're with doesn't compare to her. And when
Right.
she broke up with me, I started doing game. I got fired from my job as a therapist. I got fired from it, and I had like five
Why did
months.
you get fired?
Well, I wasn't good at it. I wasn't good. I was never good at normal jobs, to be honest with you. I was very ADD. You know, I had a lot of
Mm.
attention deficit, so it required a lot of paperwork, and I just couldn't do it.
You know,
I was always
funny,
good at what.
funny you say that because I've been fired from a lot of jobs too. I was very good as a
What happened?
salesperson, but before I got into sales, I got fired from a
Alex.
lot of jobs. I even got fired from Domino's.
Uh-oh.
Are you there, man? Can
Alex.
you hear me? Yeah, yeah, I can hear you, bro. But
I think
your
Alex.
screen
I think
your screen
Alex
froze.
is disconnected. 1 second.
No, no, I'm here, man. Your screen is frozen though.
Oh, there you are. Can you
Yeah,
see me?
your screen froze for a second. Yo, guys,
Okay.
let us before we go any further. Let us know in the comments how the connection is on your end. If you guys can hear and see us, okay. So give us a thumbs up because we want to give you guys the ultimate visual audio experience. So let us know in the comments. But all right, man. Yeah. So let's keep going. Oh shit! It froze again.
Yeah, so I started I got fired just with that being organized because that's what the job required. And when I got fired, I was really depressed. You know, I was like, I don't want to go back to my mom again, but I had 3 or 4 months where I could pay my rent and live without a job. So I was like, you know what? Let me go do game. And
Mhm.
when I was a child, I was a very obsessive kid. I always used to go above and beyond when somebody told me to do something and I liked it. I just became very obsessive. With Christianity, I would read the Bible 3 or 4 hours a day, pray 4 hours a day. So I had an obsessive personality. So it happened the same thing with game. I began doing game like 7 hours a day, just approaching. And I was reading, I was writing about it through like RSD, you know, typical stuff. And I got really good. The first month I didn't get a girl, but the second month I had like 4 girls, you know, hook up. After that, 5 girls, and then the last month I had like 8 girls in 1 month, and it was all same day lays. They were all same day lays. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't good at keeping the women. Okay, that's for sure, right? But I was good at getting them. Okay? So when I had to leave New York City at that time, I moved back to Pennsylvania with my parents. And I was like, I need to find a way to work online because I can't teach. I can't work at a no. So I began teaching, I began doing marketing. That didn't work out. I began writing, that didn't work out. I began podcasting, that didn't work out. And so I started a YouTube about mindfulness. It didn't work out too well. But then one day I was meditating and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should make a YouTube channel about dating advice. Because I was afraid to make that channel, to be honest with you. And then I started making videos about dating, but I was very transparent. I wasn't good at keeping women. So I was like, I'm only going to teach you guys how to get the women, how to keep, you know what I'm saying? So I started teaching them. And then one thing led to another, and I started teaching women. And then I started reading a whole bunch of books. And then I started just from teaching women and coaching them, I learned so much about female nature because they were only calling me about the guys they really liked. So I could ask them what they're doing. And I started seeing some common themes. And then I started teaching what those guys were doing and those women to the guys. And that's how I went from there, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah, man, that's good shit. And there's a lot of similarities, or some similarities between our stories. For example, I started playing with fire when the company I worked for went bankrupt, and I had 9 months of unemployment. Yeah, but the one issue we're running into is your audio is good, but your video keeps freezing. Is there anything you can do on your end to clean up the video? Maybe like exit out of some shit because your video
All
keeps freezing.
right, let me see. Let me see. One
Because
second.
the audio is on point, but the video is not that good.
Yeah, let me see. Maybe I think I know.
Yeah, and I asked the guys in the comments. They're also saying that it keeps freezing for you. Are you connected to the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, I am, but let me see what I could do.
Yeah, so
I'm
they're saying
believing
that
on.
your video is frozen.
Okay, 1 second.
All right, guys, bear with us. We're just gonna clean up the video, and then we're gonna keep going.
This is the best that I could do right now. This one.
All right, let's see. Yeah,
So I'm frozen, right?
The video is still frozen, but the audio is there. So, and this is primarily audio. So, if this is the best that you can get it, then we should just keep going and make the best of it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all good.
I'm not that pretty.
Yeah, we can honestly. It might even make sense to take off. Well, actually, let's leave it like this. Maybe your video will clean up, but we got the audio going, so we'll just make the best of it. Okay. So that's kind of your story. What made you? So you said that this is pretty interesting that you were a preacher at one point. Then you were a therapist. Were you like a licensed therapist, or just you were doing it like on the side?
It was like on the low key therapist because they just changed the title. I was a caseworker, so that allowed me less. But I was pretty much doing therapy. I mean, it was pretty much the same thing.
I like the title of low key therapist. Like, oh, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm just a low key therapist. When people need low key therapy, I'm there. When they need high key therapy, I refer them to someone else.
Yeah. I mean, but it kind of helped out because then it teaches you how to coach people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I started noticing that everything in my life added up to something meaningful, but individually in its own parts, it doesn't make any sense. Bible teacher, therapist, getting women luck. But then you'll notice if you bring them all together, you create this,
So what were some turning points for you when it came to game? Like moments where like, I don't know, like things that you picked up on and like things started to click. So I can tell you, like for me personally, there was a few key turning points. One of them was when I moved to Los Angeles and I started doing cold approach regularly. And another one was when I met one of my really close friends who's like natural, and he showed me a lot of shit in college. Another one was when I discovered that shirtless pictures on Tinder are, really effective. And I have a lot of girls that are down to come straight over. So what were some turning points for you?
Well, for me, it was, first of all, it wasn't with game. For me was when I began playing basketball and I sucked my whole life and I began practicing. I got a moment of frustration, practicing the fundamentals and not being good. But then it comes a moment where everything just clicks, right? That moment, all of a sudden, where hard yesterday is easy now, stuck with me. It stuck with me forever. So when I was doing game, I said to myself, Alexis, you're in that moment where you're not good, practicing. If you keep going, things are just going to click, right? And that's, to be honest with you, the foundation of my whole life, is the fact that when you're learning something, essentially it is hard. Who the fuck says it's going to be easy the first time? You know what I'm saying? Only lazy people think it's going to be easy, But understanding that before you get good at something, you have to go through frustration, right? You have to go through moments of doubt. And if you don't have those moments of doubt or frustration, that means you're not pushing yourself to the limit, right? So that's the first thing. Believing that I can learn anything that I want if I put enough practice. I mean, without that, I wouldn't do what I do right now, right? Because the next thing that I learned is that if you get good at something, whatever the fuck it is, it could be you're good at jacking off, it could be you're good at fucking painting, it could be you're good at fucking volleyball, it could be that you are a good dancer. The point is that if you're good at something, somebody's gonna fuck you. Somebody's gonna want to have sex with you. It's just that simple, right? Like just being good at something, being a good actor, being a good student in class and having study sessions will get you laid at least once. Jesus Christ, right? And so that it helped explain a lot of why you see a lot of guys.
Alex, sorry to interrupt you, man. A lot of guys in the comments are saying that we should just turn off your video and just keep it audio, and I kind of agree with that because they're saying that like it's perfect. Let's do that. Sorry, keep going.
Is it good? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Where did I pause? Is good?
You were talking about being good at something gets you late.
Okay. Yes. getting good at anything, right? Because the problem is, bro, is that Alex, a lot of guys want to take the short route. They want to take good photos on Tinder. There's nothing wrong with that. They want to, like when they see an ugly guy with a good-looking girl, they just assume that he got lucky. Maybe that ugly guy is the director of the theater group in his school. Maybe that ugly guy is the leader of the chess club, and the only girl that joined this, the chess club liked him. Maybe the ugly is the only.
No, I'm just laughing at the
Yeah.
idea, like the girl that joins the chess club, that girl is like a 5 at best, probably. But yeah, I got you.
It don't matter,
for
right?
sure. For sure, that guy, it could be any number of things. I think game is a combination of luck and skill. There's definitely a luck element. There's definitely a skill element. Some situations, like I've had personally some situations where I could say, you know, this was just right place, right time, and basically I just didn't fuck it up. Like I remember when I was one night in Prague, and I was out all night, like literally just not able. No set was clicking really. We had a few pulls, but none of them. And then there was this chick. It was like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. The club was about to close. There was one chick by herself, this Asian girl, hot Asian girl in Prague. And I went up to her and I was like, hey, what's up? You look like an American. Literally right place, right time. 30 seconds later, she's coming back to my place. She's like, I'm bored. You want to get after? Yeah. Like right place, right time. I didn't fuck it up. I escalated and I closed. So like there's definitely like elements of both luck and skill involved in game. And sometimes you have those pulls where it's like really hard and really technical.
The thing is that like I try to make my own luck, right? Like you try, like you did it right there, right? You were persistent and you were on it, and luck came to you because you were prepared, right? What most guys don't understand is that, for example, me, I like day game. I never like night game because I like my mornings. And when you do night game, it fucks up your morning, all right? And so for me, it's not for me, right? I've never been into it. My main thing is what I teach guys is how to get women organically in their lives, right? Because not a lot of guys have the balls to do game. Let's just be honest. If you do game, you're different, right? Like if you do game, you're just a different individual. You have more courage than the average guy. Me and you have it, right? And so it's kind of like what I is that you make your own luck by doing one of the following. One, practice something and get good at it. Just getting good at something changes your character. Just getting good at something changes your demeanor. You become more serious, right?
Let me just quickly let's just explore this point more because I think that's an interesting point. Do you think that the thing that you get good at should be something that society finds valuable, or it could be just anything you're passionate about?
Well, what's funny is that for those who are not good at something, just being a little good at it will make you look like one of the best in the world. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So if you're surrounded by people who, let's just say you're an artist, right? And you're a decent artist, and your friend group, no one's an artist. All of a sudden, you're high value because you have a special skill set that none of your friends have, right? So, but if you're around other artists, now you gotta be really, really good. And it's possible. It's not like possible to be the best at something in your group. You don't have to be the best in the world. You just be the best amongst 20 people, amongst your city. It's completely possible. It's not outside of the range of possibility. The problem is that people don't understand. They underestimate their brains. You can learn something really quick, right? So it could be that you like drumming. You like playing the drums. So you join a jamming group, or you join a dance group and you play the drums. All of a sudden, you're for the group, and that's possible, right? And somebody's gonna find you attractive, right? It could be anything. Just get good at something and surround yourself around who value that. Now, somebody may not fuck you, right? But somebody's gonna eventually somebody's gonna find you attractive. As long as you don't hit on the women. This is what I teach guys. Let's just say I'm in art school, right? I go to art school, and when I'm in art school, when I go there, I don't talk to people. The only thing that talks is my art. I go there, I try to be the best artist, and that naturally brings attention to me, right? And so what happens is that if you don't hit them, they're naturally gonna start saying, "Who is he? What does he do? Why doesn't he talk? But he's so good at art. Let me find out who he is," right? So by just being good at it, attention will come to you. It's inevitable. In fact, if you don't have charisma, by just being good at something, it's gonna automatically give you charisma while you're doing the thing that you're good at. So you could be the most boring motherfucker on the planet, but as soon as you start painting, all of a sudden you have charisma, right? Because being good at something naturally gives you charisma. It's that simple. When back in the days of when we were hunter gatherers, who got laid the most? Not the best looking motherfucker, the one who hunted the best, the one who was the best at it, the one who had the most skills at hunting. Maybe you weren't a hunter, but maybe you created the best houses back then. You laid a lot because you had something valuable. Nowadays,
So
people have no.
let me kind of comment on this one before we move on to the next point. I partially agree with you and partially disagree. I do agree. Yeah, obviously, like back in the day, the people who got laid the most were like the best hunters. They got that caveman pussy, which obviously we all know is like the cream of the crop. But
Yeah,
that's because they had a skill their peers find valuable. So, for example, if you get really good at playing Dungeons and Dragons or playing World of Warcraft, that's like 98% guys in that community. So there are like in your friend group, if you hang out with normal, cool people and you say like, you know, I'm the best World of Warcraft player, they're not going to give a shit. And the girls are not going to give a shit. So I do think that the skill you get good at does need to be something that people find valuable. Like for me, for example, it's really, really easy to meet friends in any city I go to because, you know, I have this YouTube channel and I'm considered a dating coach. So dating is something that everyone values. So everyone wants, or at least a lot of people want dating advice, right? If I got really good at like fucking, I don't know, like dog grooming, that would be a lot less valuable because only a few people have dogs. If I got really good at like fucking twiddling my thumbs or like, I don't know, twisting my testicles, you know what I mean? Like something odd and that's not, or like fucking like pottery or something like that, then like, again, even if I'm the best pottery person in the world, very few girls are going to give a shit about that and find that attractive. So I personally do think that the skill has to be valuable to girls in society.
Well, the thing is that one, being good at something. Well, the first thing is that being good at something helps you get better at other things, right? So let's just say you're into Magic the Gatherings and that bullshit, right? You get good at it. Yeah, you're not Magic Gathering pussy, right? Obviously, but it's
gathering.
Right, but it's gonna help you understand. It's gonna give you a reference. The next thing you try to learn, you're gonna believe in yourself more. So you get good at Magic the Gathering, then you find another skill that people value. But now your brain says, "I know how to learn now. I have a reference." So as minuscule as it might be, fucking like slinging your dick around, if you get good at that shit, your brain is gonna say, "Okay, I can learn," and it's gonna give you the confidence to learn other things. Obviously, I would prefer you learn something that people find valuable, right? I mean, goddamn, I mean, like, don't waste your time learning. I'm saying learn knit. I think you get some knitting pussy with that, right? Like learning art, learning photography, all of those things will get you laid. But
photography definitely, but photography is definitely a skill that a lot of people find valuable.
I prefer you find something that fits with your natural inclinations. The first thing you want to do is find something that you're naturally inclined to do. As nerdy as it is, the key is to give your brain a reference that you can learn something and you want to like it. Because then if somebody flakes on you, if a woman flakes on you, if a woman does something bad to you, you have something to lean on that you're passionate about, right? Getting good at something gives you a sense of purpose. Having a sense of purpose, women find that attractive. Now, you're right. There are some things that are so nerdy that it might repel women. You're like, you're good at that, really? But to me, that's not the point. To me is get good at something, it's going to be easier to get good at other things. Like I said, for me, it was basketball. I wasn't getting pussy from basketball at all, right? But by me learning basketball, then I believe that I could learn something else. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get your point, though. But yeah, I mean, this is like kind of an interesting topic. What would you say were some other game changers for you when it came to getting good with girls?
Well, for me I have a different approach to women. For example, I watch your channel, and a lot of the things you say, I like a lot about the DMing women. I like your style too. You know, I send that to women, right? But you also talk about being doing your due diligence, right? And making sure to cover all the little things, you know, messaging them, making sure that they're not really interested. But for me, I'm the type of person that I have zero tolerance for bullshit. For example, if a woman cancels on me last minute, I don't respond. I don't respond to that. You're gonna have to double text me because you know it, right? You don't like. For example, the thing is, we have too much tolerance for women. We think they're that stupid. Like think women are so that they forgot to text you back? Women never forget to text you back. Women are always on their phone. If a woman takes a long time to text, like, yeah, sure, you know, something might have happened. But for me, when a woman likes you, the emotions are so intense that she can resist text back, right? Like women, when they like a guy, and the reason I say this is because I coach them, bro. I coach women. They tell me this. When they like a guy, it's obvious. When they don't like a guy, you'll notice that you start asking yourself, does she like me? Does she not like me? But when she likes you, it's obvious. Even Stevie Wonder knows she likes you. Same.
Yeah,
So
I agree with your point. To kind of comment on that. So I try to look at things not as black and white, but like through scales of gray. So yes, obviously, you know, a girl canceling on you last minute, that's not cool. But what if, for example, she texts you an hour later with a long paragraph and says how she had an emergency because her grandma was in the hospital? Like, you know what I mean? So I try to look at things through like scales of, you know, gray. Okay, what's the context? Like, if a girl who I'm seeing regularly flakes, like, also I try to keep this in mind, right? If it's a girl who I'm talking to on Tinder, she hasn't had a chance to be fully attracted to me yet because we haven't met yet. Like, she's not going to be as invested as she's going to be once she meets me, right? Because then there's a whole new level of investment. So that's another thing I keep in mind. Now, if a girl who I've already, you know, banged a few times is like flaking on me, yeah, like that means she's not interested and she's not going to become more interested, and you know, that's it, right? But if it's a girl who I haven't met yet, you know, she's talking to hundreds of other guys. She has no way of knowing I'm cool yet. So I kind of, in that situation, will be more inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt. And kind of like also the way I look at things is from a very utilitarian perspective. Like, how long does it take me to double text a girl, right? It takes me a split second, you know. How long does it take me to follow up a week later? It takes me a split second. I always structure, like, the way I set up my dates is always either straight to my house or it's a bar nearby, and I don't leave my house until the girl texts me that she's on the way. So if a girl flakes on me, in reality, I've lost nothing because I also probably had a bunch of backup plans that night. So I just think a lot of it is just about not taking things personally, looking at all the gray in between, and structuring your life in a very utilitarian way. Like, a lot of guys, for example, I understand, like, yo, if you have plans with a girl and you were going to drive an hour to meet her and you were getting ready and you're on the road and she cancels on you last minute, yeah, you just lost a shitload of time, right? But I think part of the problem is that you didn't structure the whole thing correctly to, as, you know, basically make your time. I think also another issue is guys don't really value their time as much as they should. So I treat my time as like a really valuable commodity. And that's why I always have backup plans, because my time is valuable. So if a girl flakes on me, that's okay. I have backup plans, right? My time is still not going to be wasted then. So it's kind of like my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. I mean, sometimes things happen, and I get it, right? But with women, like one of the reasons why some women, and I know you don't agree with, because I watch your videos, right? So there's some things I agree with and some things I don't. But sometimes a woman, when she really likes you, she will not do that. Like, she'll cancel on her friends for you, even if she's nervous. Even if she's nervous to see you, she'll deal with anxiety just to see you. Now, look, if you're a beginner and you don't have a lot of options, I think it's good to do that. I think it's good to be a little persistent. The problem is that you got to be careful, because you might be so disappointed at your attempts that you might grow bitter towards women, right? And that's something a lot of guys have to be careful. Growing bitter towards women is a big problem for guys who do this, right?
Sure, of course.
So it's kind of like
that's the whole red pill community in a nutshell.
What happened?
That's like the whole red pill community in a nutshell, or the black pill community. It's just guys who are bitter women. Yeah,
and that's why me, bro, like, for example, I stopped dealing with my own Tinder. I have my personal assistant deal with it because because you know, during the quarantine, when women were giving you the bullshit line of let's hang out after the quarantine.
Yeah.
Right. And like I was like, yo, these people are lying to my face, and I don't like it. It got me frustrated because I'm like, bitch, just say no. So I was like, you know what? I gave my assistant a few messages to text, and I just forgot about it because I don't want to deal with the bullshit. And it got to the point that she got tired of them. I'm like, yo, you're not gonna go asking them out, but she got tired of it because she knew they were all some bullshitting her, right?
So to just comment on this, I do feel like sort of that, again, this is like a little bit of like too simplistic an approach. So I would say I do agree there's an element of bullshit there. But like when the whole quarantine thing started, people were freaking out about COVID, right? Like I think that's pretty much retarded. Like COVID was never really a big deal, blah blah blah. But let's take all that aside. The public sentiment, about a year ago was that holy shit, this is going to kill us all, right? So a lot of chicks were freaking out. Now the element of bullshit is that if it's one of her close friends or a guy she's already fucking, she'll ignore the risk of meeting him either way. But for a new guy, like she is going to say, yeah, let's meet after the quarantine. So it's not a totally bullshit line. There's elements of bullshit to it. So that's kind of what I try to do. But yeah, like when the whole
the problem is that how many guys did she say that to? Is she can be saying that all year long, and then after like quarantine is over, there's like 500 guys waiting? Get the fuck out of here!
But maybe if a guy's really hot, she won't say that.
Yeah. Bro, there are too many hot guys on Tinder. Like when I coach women, I ask them that because I'm always curious. I have questions that I ask women when I coach them, and they even tell me it's bullshit. Like it's like how can I say that? It's like we give women too much the benefit of the doubt, and I don't mean to sound like mean or like butthurt about it, but it's true. And one of the West Coast, our dicks give them the benefit of the doubt that they're saying the truth. But for the most part, I can promise you, I would like to see how many women said, let's wait till the quarantine, and they actually saw them. I honestly, there's a very, 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 very low chance. Oh, actually, only one girl actually did that. And that's from a friend of a friend. Like, that was from a friend of a friend who actually did that. I mean, look, for me with Tinder, bro, it's like I have low tolerance for BS on Tinder because they don't owe you respect. They don't know you. They don't know your friends. They don't need to respect you. So they will disrespect you. You will get flaked on more. Now, if you meet them at school or work, they might not do that because there's a distance between you and them. They're just a lot of the times they're just there for attention. And a lot of guys think that just because she's smiling at them, just because she's sending LOLs, just because she says, let's hang out, but as soon as you ask when she disappears, is that, did they think something happened? No, it's like, she's not stupid. She read that text. Like women.
I just personally, I try not to view it through the lens of respect or disrespect because, like, to me, like the way I look at it is like, okay, so the only way I can explain this is to kind of say, like, the problem I see with the red pill community quite often is everything that happens, they take it personally and they see it as like someone's disrespecting them. I don't really see things that way. The only people who can disrespect me are people who I'm close to, right? If I'm not close to you, then you can't really disrespect me. Like, for example, if you're walking down the street and the homeless guy is like, you fucking Jews are taking over the world or whatever, right? Like, is that really disrespect? Well, not really, because he doesn't know me, right? Some people might perceive that disrespect, but for me, it's not, because this person doesn't know me, so he doesn't have the power to disrespect me. It's the same way I view Tinder. I just view it more from like a very practical perspective. Like, for example, during the quarantine, it was very annoying, all the chicks who were like, saying like, yeah, well, let's meet up after COVID. However, there was also, on the positive, there was a lot of chicks who joined Tinder because all their bars and clubs and whatever other ways of meeting people were closed. So there was pros and cons. Like, I wouldn't say that my sex and dating life suffered a bit during like the first 2 months of COVID, not substantially, but a bit. But then like after like by, I would say March or April, it was basically back to what it was pre-quarantine, right? So there was like pros and cons. Like, for example, yes, a lot of chicks were concerned about COVID, but a lot more chicks were willing to come straight to the house because everything was closed. So yeah, there's like pros and cons. And like the way I almost see it, I see it as like a game. Like, that's why I'm a huge fan of the book Game of Thrones. I just see it like all as a game where you're just trying to basically like win the game. It's like the game of life or the game of dating. And you do it by taking the best strategy and like just like not taking shit personally. But yeah, I see your point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm you gotta understand, I'm toxic. You know what I'm saying? So
the toxic dating coach.
Like you
really don't seem like a toxic person just from talking to you, honestly, just from watching your content. So I assume that was like a play on words.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of an exaggeration, but I'm really not. But I think you have a good mindset with that. You know what I'm saying? Me, I have more cynical mindset because it's just that, it's just human nature. Women are just more passive aggressive than men are. Sure. They're just more passive aggressive, and the way you deal with passive aggression is that you don't deal with it. Because if you confront passive aggression, then they can easily reverse it and gaslight you. Hey, but I was gonna respond to you. Why you gotta get so angry? I'm like, bitch, you took 5 days to respond to. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So you can't address it directly because you saw her.
So
right?
let me actually just quickly touch on that. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but because you're making an interesting point. Yes, if a girl is, for example, flaking on you, she's flaking on you, and she knows that she's flaking on you, right? And you confront it aggressively, like, yo, I really don't like flaky bitches, right? Or something like that. That's a little bit of an extreme line, but something like that's directly aggressive, then you're right. It will backfire on you. However, I do think that you can call out passive aggressiveness or bad behavior if you do it correctly, it's very powerful, right? Like if you say something like, I genuinely didn't take you for the flaky type, that's a very powerful text that a girl can't really come back at you with, like, because if she flaked on you and you say, I genuinely didn't take you for the flaky type, it's like you're disappointed in her. And like that text has like a really excellent response rate. So I do think there's a correct way you can address, and I think it's actually important to address when a girl is like, bad behavior, whatever, flaking, not responding, whatever, like bad behavior. I do think it's important to address it.
I think that's a great text. I think it doesn't sound angry, it doesn't butthurt. It sounds like I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed, right? That's what it sounds like to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, and I like that. For me, what I've got a point that I'm just so busy with my life that I just don't respond. Like if a woman doesn't reschedule on the flake, like if there's no rescheduling on the flake, then I'm not gonna respond, right? And if she does reschedule, then I'm like, yeah, sure, you just got to get me a drink, right? Like if I'm gonna reschedule with you, you're getting the drink next time. Right. Or let's just say, for example, when I call out women when they're late on dates, right? If she's like 15 minutes late, I'll be like, hey man, I don't like when people are late, because I was waiting, I came on time. But anyways, let's keep going. I do call them out on it, right? But the one thing that I don't tolerate, last minute flakes with no rescheduling. I don't even respond to that. I don't even respond to that. Because what's funny is that it works 5% of the times. The women will double text me and say, why you mad? Hey, let's make it work. 5% of the time they actually follow through and text me, right? But the other 95% of the time, bro, is that, let me tell you something, bro. When a woman likes you, bro, like I don't think guys understand is when a woman likes you, she will not do that. Like it's like we gotta see it from their perspective, man. Like find it, like when a woman likes you, they just don't do that.
I definitely agree with you on that. That's like very true. I do think though that when it comes to like dating apps, like the girl doesn't have a chance to like you yet because you haven't met. So you can't expect that a girl, like there's of course, and I think actually if a girl really likes you before you met, that's actually a red flag in of itself. Like she shouldn't like you too much before meeting. But girl hasn't had a chance to like you.
I prefer to talk to them on the phone. If I meet them online, I prefer to talk to them on the phone. I don't. I'll be like, give me a number and I'll give you a call. Even if she's nervous to talk to you.
No, I was just gonna ask. So, what's like your preferred style for meeting girls? Like, do you mostly do what, like day game? You said.
Well, it depends. Like, for example, like I prefer to meet women doing things that I like. So, for example, I'll go and draw and paint at the park, right? And sometimes women give me the number. I'll draw people. I'll go up to people and draw them. But I don't say, hey, let's hang out. Hey, give me your number. No, I'll just put my Instagram under a drawing and give it to them. And sometimes they go out with me. The truth is only 5% of women will go out with me when I do that, right? Only 5%. It's not like it's a crazy number, you know what I'm saying? So 5% is pretty decent. And the better I get, the more they call, which is kind of cool. It means I can kind of control it with is. Outside of that, I'll use Tinder, and I like going to school and just organizing events at school, like having a drawing, having a meet and greet, having a not meet and greet, but like just having events at school and organizing it, or joining a club at school. You know what I'm saying? Like just being part of the like different clubs at school. Because for me, it's like just put yourself around women, be serious and be masculine, and somebody's gonna want to have sex with you. As long as you're not a goofball, as long as you're not hitting on every woman in your group or school, because women do talk. As long as you're a serious man and who focuses on the job, they're gonna respect you for that. And when men respect you, they give you dabs. When a woman respects you, sometimes they have sex with you. Like just don't hit on every woman that you meet at school. Don't hit on every woman that you meet at work, and be serious and good at do. And somebody's gonna want to have sex with you. It's just how that works. It's how nature works. You know, the uglier you are, the better you got to be at what you do. It's pretty much how it works.
Yeah, I agree with that. So okay, yeah, because there's some people who say looks don't matter at all, and some people who say it's all about looks. But yeah, it sounds like you kind of like you believe it's somewhere in the middle. Like looks matter, of course, but game matters as well, which is kind of my perspective as well.
It's kind of like when we see ugly guys with pretty women, we have to sort of ask them, how did you get her? Don't even ask her how did you get her. I would ask that guy, what do you do? Like, do for fun.
I'm a janitor, but I'm the best janitor in the world.
Hey man, janitor,
I can mop a floor in under 3 minutes.
Bro, but you know what? Amongst janitors, again, bro, it sounds silly. I know it sounds silly, but you don't know your group. The groups that you're in value different things. You know, so you could be around junkies, and if you're the one with the most heroin, then somebody's gonna want to fuck you. It's just how it works. like just be somebody who has something of value in group, and women are gonna.
There you have it, kids. If you could get latest, acquire massive amounts of heroin, and then you can get that junkie pussy. No, I mean I see. I'm kind of trolling a little bit.
Yeah. You know,
one thing I want. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, to me, to me, I like studying anomalies. And the biggest mystery that I had when I was a kid was seeing ugly dudes with pretty girls. That blew my mind. I was like, how is that? And that's how they got lucky.
Yeah, I think like
they got
95% of
they got lucky by being into like art, by being into like a acting class, or being in theater school, or being in drama class. All of those things require you to interact with people, and you connect because you're acting. And over time, they end up liking you. It's how it works, you know? You were saying?
No, I was saying, yeah, like when you see an ugly guy with a hot girl, 98% of the time, it's either that dude is like loaded, he has a lot of money, and she's a gold digger, or more commonly, right place, right time, which can be social circle, you know, drama class, like you said. The girl,
or he's a manager at his job. You know, and all of those things, bro, all of those things are attainable. Like, it's possible. You could be the manager of your job, and all of a sudden your social status in that job raises, and you become the most attractive person in that job, in any kind of job.
I was banging this married girl for a while, and she well, I'm kind of minimizing it. We were like also in a kind of a relationship, but anyway, she one day I saw a picture of her husband on her phone, and this chick is like really hot. And I saw a picture of her husband. He's like a 2. He looks like literally a troll. And I was like, wait, you gotta be shitting me. Like, is this like your retarded brother or something? She's like, no, that's my husband. I'm like, how did you marry this guy? And the story was that before him, she was dating this like really good looking model guy, but he used to abuse her, and he beat her a few times. And this guy was there for her when, she would cry. And when she ended the relationship with the guy who used to abuse her, the model-looking guy, she wanted basically the opposite of that. And this guy was like was just there for her. So he was right place, right time. And then he got this, hot Latino.
There's a reason why. It's because when women get tired of being played, they say to themselves, "Let me get an ugly guy because he won't cheat on me. Like, let me get a nice guy and give him a try." But what they don't know is that when they date that nice guy's gonna feel like the shit.
Yeah, well, when they date the nice guy, though, they're going to wind up cheating on them with someone like me later on. Because women are not attracted to nice guys.
Or the nice guy ends up cheating on her, because now women are noticing him because he got that girl.
You know, like a truly nice guy, I think that's pretty rare. But yeah, we're kind of splitting hairs. What I did want to actually kind of ask you was, so it's pretty interesting because you coach men and women, which I would say is pretty rare in our industry. Like, people usually either coach men or women. Like, you got Matthew Hussey and shit who coaches women, and then you got like me, Kezia Noble, like who coach men, right? So what made you decide to coach both sexes?
Well, one is the money, right? I want to earn more money.
Okay,
To be honest.
props for the honesty. I like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I try to be as honest with my fans. It's kind of like if they're, I don't want to betray their trust, and it's kind of not, I don't want to like say, oh, because of the bottom of my heart. No, no, bitch, I want to earn money. Okay. After that, it's because it's because I really want to help people, and guys don't understand. You see, guys think women have it great. They really don't. Like women have it.
100% agree.
It's like
Yeah.
yeah, women have it pretty shitty because women have only like a 10-year window of being attractive. That 10-year window, they go from the tens all of a sudden to not getting any attention. So it's kind of like imagine being a celebrity.
I don't know about. I would call it more like a 30 or 40-year window. A hot girl starts getting attention at like 16, and she'll get the attention through 40s. If she takes care of herself. But okay, we're kind of splitting hairs
But
again.
yeah, again, it's relative. It's like watching. It's like somebody who's a YouTuber who used to get 1 million views per video, and now he's getting 100,000 views per video, right? It's kind of like
Right.
any other person. Any other person will like, oh, you still got a lot of views, but in their perspective, they're like, yeah, but not like before.
Yeah.
So it feels shitty.
I see your point. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair
Yeah.
point.
So it's kind of like it's an existence that they live where people are always looking at them, or they're always being judged by their look and know who are their real friends or who are the fake friends, right?
Right.
And because you gotta think about it, women are naive, and that's the truth. Women, 70% of cult are women. 70% of cult members are women. Okay, so it's kind of like women are easily deceived by words. Okay, so I started teaching them because if I teach women, that means it'll help me with my dating life, right? And also it'll help me teach men because then I'll have both an understanding of both sexes, right? And that
Right.
help and just understanding both sexes gives me a more round perspective on attraction. And the truth is that it has helped my life with women. It really has, and it helps guys because I coach, bro. I talk to women. Women call me about guys who are doing the right things. They never call me about Bob, the fucking builder, who's being bored. They always calling me about Chad, who's playing her. And I ask him, so what is he doing? What did he say? What was his text? So I'm starting to see the patterns that makes women fall in love with me. And that's invaluable because I'm getting it straight from the source.
Interesting. Let me ask you this question out of curiosity. Do you ever hook up with your clients, like the female ones, obviously?
Let me see. Yeah, a few times, but it's all I don't pursue it. I try to be professional. I let them pursue it. So it's kind of like I don't hate on them. I'm very, very professional. But if they all of a sudden start saying, "Hey, you want to get a drink?" I'll be like, "Yeah, sure, as long as you get it," and then we'll take it from there. But look, bro, I'll be honest with you. When I've had seminars, I've had like a few women who hit me up after or before the seminar. And I'm the type of person that I don't lie to people. I'm like, yeah, if you're hot and you hit on me, why am I gonna say no to you? Like,
Maybe I should start teaching women as well. I actually made a few videos. I don't know if you saw those, but I made like 2 videos for women. It is a category because I've had playing with fire is like, if you look at the YouTube analytics, it's 80% men, 85% men, 15 to 20% women. But out of 50,000 subs, that's like over 1,000 women. And I have had some women message me on Instagram, but it's hasn't been really to hit on me. It's more to like ask me to make more content. Usually, girls will be like, "Hey, I fully went into your channel thinking you were an asshole. I fully had the intention of hating on you, but then I actually watched your videos, and you're actually teaching men how to be men. And so, can you help women?" And I've had, girls who I'm hooking up with tell me that. So I do want to make content for women. It is something that's, been interesting to me. What would you say? Let me ask you this question. Oh, go ahead.
What? What you were going to say?
I was going to say, what would you say are some of the struggles women have?
The struggles that women have is not them having sex with the guys, is finding out whether or not the guy really likes them. It's finding out whether or not if the guy wants a relationship or if he doesn't want a relationship. And that to me, and that is the biggest one, right? Because women get attracted to the guys that don't like them. When the guys like them, the women don't like them. Like it's pretty much how it is. Like, and they'll even tell me that when I like the guy, he don't like me. When I don't like the guy, he like. So what's going on there? It's not the fact that he knows you like him and all of a sudden he doesn't like you, but that your personality changes when you like a person. You open up a lot more. You become more tolerant of their bullshit. That goes for men and women. So what I would recommend to people is that notice how you act when you don't like the person. How do you act? How do you talk? How do you move? How do you text when you don't like the person? And then notice act when you like the person. What I want you to do is just write down what you do when you don't like the person, and when you meet a girl that you like, act that way, right? And that is the blue to your most attractive self, because women, they like the ones that don't like them back. That is the struggle that a lot of women have.
Sure. Yeah. We all want what we can't have.
Yeah, but then we got to learn how to hear like we're on a table. That's the key, you know. And the way that you do that is to learn your nonverbals, right? That means speaking slower. If you laugh out of 10, laugh out of 5. If you smile out of 10, smile out of 6, right? Move slower, talk slower. By lowering your nonverbals, you're going to automatically come across as more alpha, more attractive, and more mysterious. And you're gonna give people a better first impression, because when your face is very animated, it's good to be animated if you're on stage. But if you're meeting somebody for the first time, it's good to control your nonverbals more at a simmering point. Why? Because it shows self-control, and women and men find that attractive. And also, for a man, embracing his feminine is actually very attractive to women. What's funny is that when you think of the most attractive men have been the androgynous men. David Bowie, Prince, Michael Jackson, even though he was a weirdo, right? But androgyny, embracing your femininity as a man, not being a fucking soy boy. That's not what I'm talking about. But dressing, not dressing like a woman, but like having little feet, like almost looking kind of gay, but being very masculine. Or for women, it could be that she's a very feminine woman, but there's something masculine about her, right? I tell women, if you want to be more attracted to men, embrace your masculinity. Because nobody likes a 100% feminine woman who walks like a feminine woman. 100%. A guy likes a woman who makes her, who has a little masculine flair to her, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, you know. And I talk a lot about that on my channel. It's a very subject. Another thing is playing the victim. It's fucked up, right? But this is the toxic side. Talking about how you don't trust. Talking about how women betrayed you, because you know what would happen. All of a sudden, a woman will say, "I don't want to be that woman." And what they'll do is that they'll try their best to gain your trust. You know, you have trust issues, especially the women who always likes to play the fucking hero, who always likes to date guys who have problems, and that's a lot of women. So just talk about a problem in your life, exaggerate that you have depression, exaggerate that your ex cheated on you with your best friend. Say attraction a lot of the times turns into love, and it's toxic, but it does work. You know.
So let's kind of expand on some of the things you said here. So there's some things you said that I very much agree with, and some things that I disagree with. So I definitely very much agree about slowing down your body language on all the nonverbals. So if you watch like videos of me when I'm like whatever doing videos, I'm doing these podcasts, I'm very anime, I'm high, like I get into like some of this shit, especially with something I'm passionate about. But if you watch like videos of me with chicks, I'm a lot more slow and deliberate. Like it's almost like I would say I talk at least twice slower. Like I'm much more slow, controlled, deliberate, seductive, right? So it's not like I'm putting on an act. It's just like that's kind of like the vibe. So I definitely very much agree with that. If you're too like antsy, that's not attractive. You want to be very grounded, slow, controlled. So that on that part we're in agreement. But I think we need to expand a little bit on what the last thing you said. So you mentioned that. Are you talking about complaining to women, or are you talking about like what's
No, it's feigning weakness. Okay? Look, women have told me, and you gotta understand, everything that I teach is based on observation. It's not based on me like fucking pulling out of my ass. It's on observation, and then just saying, "Holy shit, this is real." For example, right? Imagine like I've had a lot of women that when they date a guy, they don't like him, but then when he goes through a crisis, they get emotionally engaged with the guy because they're trying to help him, that they end up falling in love with him, right? So let's just say his mother died and the guy needs emotional support. and because she feels sympathy for him, because women are more empathetic than guys are, over time, by trying to help him, they actually end up falling in love with the guy by accident, because they're trying to help him.
So that's interesting. So you find that sympathy can act almost as like a backdoor in? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of nurses fall in love with their patients, right? That happens. A lot of psychologists fall in love with their patients as well, right? And in fact, it's actually a good way to get out of the friend zone. Also, if you talk about dad, your mom died, and all that bullshit, right? As an example, your grandma fell from the fucking stairs, or she choked on a goddamn pork chop, and you act sad, you're gonna engage her emotions naturally. You just will. Like, if she doesn't feel bad, then she's a fucking psycho. And if she's your friend, she doesn't feel bad. Come on. Like, trauma brings people closer to each other. You can notice when something bad happens in a community, like there's an earthquake, all of a sudden people are closer, right? They want to help each other out.
Oh yeah, we as a country were never closer until after 9/11. Like
exactly.
Like, for sure. That's a good point. Trauma definitely brings people together. The only thing I would say to kind of comment on that is you have to be really careful to avoid pity. Like, if the girl pities you, that's like the death of desire. Like, in my opinion, pity is like the death of desire. You have to really not get it. Mm-hmm.
I have to put the caveat and say you have to have a masculine frame, right? She has to see you as a man. She cannot see you as a little bitch, okay? Like, that's the most important thing. Like, she has to say, oh, wow, this strong masculine man being more to me. You know what I'm saying? Like she.
I do think there's a fine line though between. So I see your point. Like, if like a strong masculine man who becomes emotionally vulnerable to the girl can be extremely attractive, and in theory, you could manufacture the reason for you to become emotional. Like, I don't know. Do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I watch it. Uh-huh.
Are you familiar? The dentist system where it talks about like demonstrate value, engage physics. So he like comes up with a crisis to bring the girl together, but there's actually elements of truth to that. And what you're saying kind of reminds me of that thing. I'm not saying that you're a dentist, but that's the analogy I would make in my mind. But I think you think you have to. Go ahead.
Well, it's because, again, you're engaging women's natural desire to her. You know what I'm saying? It's what women do. And if you act like as long as she sees you as a masculine man, I mean, that is the prerequisite. Because if she doesn't see you like that, she's gonna have pity over you. That is different. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She has to respect you as a man.
Right.
So once she has that respect for you, and all of a sudden you tell her that, even on a date, you could talk about how your ex cheated on you and she fucking dumped you for your friend, all that shit. What's gonna happen is that she's not gonna want to be that girl. She's gonna say, I don't want to be that girl. I wanna break his walls down. I want to show him that a woman could love him. All that fucking bullshit, right? Because it's almost like a challenge. It's kind of like, oh, you don't trust women. That means you don't trust me. I want to gain your trust now. It's women are backwards. That's how they think. And so it's kind of
I see your point, and I think it's a fair point. I do think that the Jesus is in the details, because you really have to avoid going into the pity category. So yeah, like if a girl pities you, then I think you're done. But if a girl wants to win you over because you're like this, wounded, warrior or something like that, then that's a different story. So yeah, but I see.
But you know what? If she doesn't, let's just say she's on a date with you and she doesn't trust you too much, right? Mm-hmm. And then you tell her how your mom died in a fucking airplane fucking accident, right? You know what's gonna happen? All of a sudden she's gonna trust you. Like the fact, like you telling her that will make her trust you. She's gonna, oh wow, for real? Yeah, she as an example, yeah, man, she fell down the stairs and she hit her head and it's just been tough. It's gonna humanize you.
Unless like 5 minutes later you get a call and she's like, "Who is this?" "Oh, it's just my mom." "Wait, I thought she died in an airplane accident." Oh, shit.
That's my mom.
Yeah. But yeah, what would you say, since we're kind of on this topic, what would you say are some other toxic techniques or hacks that you find could be potentially effective? It'd be interesting because I want you to share yours and I'll share some of the ones I've noticed.
Okay, well, let me see. Some of them are okay. For example, like if she's saying, I learned this from a woman where I'm trying to see which one should I say. You start with one, and I'll think about which one because there's so many in my
Okay.
head.
I mean, I have so many, but I'll just do random ones. Like one thing that one could potentially do if they didn't have a lot of ethics. This is what my buddy has had a lot of success with. Is you set up a Tinder profile as a male model, right? And you get a lot of matches, and you set up a date at the bar, and then you go to the bar yourself, and then you give the password to your friend, and you have your friend text the girl when she's at the bar, saying, "Hey, sorry, I can't make it," and flake on her last minute. And then you wait 30 seconds, and you approach the girl as yourself. That's when she's at like her, most emotionally vulnerable. Again, is it fucked up? Yes. But is it effective? Yes.
Yo, that's dark shit, bro. That's really fucked up.
I
like that.
I told you, man.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I'm not,
there's so many of these. Like, again, I'm not, so I want to be very clear for, like, I'm not advocating this shit. I'm just saying what some people do, right? And I think it's up to every person to see if that matches who they are. Another one is, and this is, again, just a fact, like, if you hook up with a girl, it's your first time, if you, like, only assuming it's fully consensual, like she's into being spanked, like, you obviously don't want to do anything that the girl's not okay with. But, like, assuming she's into being spanked, if you leave a mark on her ass for a few days, then she's not going to be able to meet up with any other guys unless she really doesn't give a shit. And so when you set up a date with her for the next day, she's going to be much more likely to show up, right? Because you're the only dick she can get for like the next, 4 to 6 days, right? So that's like another one. You leave a nice mark on her ass, right? Like, again, assuming it's fully consensual.
Yeah, I like that one. That was interesting. That's like a way to, like, it's like clamping her up in a way.
It's like marking your territory in a way.
Right. Okay, I got one for you. One is actually I learned this from The Art of Seduction. I highly recommend to read Robert Greene's books because have you read Robert Greene's books before?
No, but you know what's funny? Someone when I announced this podcast, someone said he has a lot of similarities with Robert Greene or something like that.
Yeah, I pretty much know his books from back to front. I mean, his books are the epitome of understanding human nature. And he has this book called The Art of Seduction. In this book, there's a strategy called The Art of Insinuation. The Art of Insinuation is all about, for example, let's just say, you're white, right? And let's just say your girl says, oh my God, fucking Alex.
But I'm black where it counts. Boom. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, go ahead.
Let's just say she says, "Oh wow, Alex, I have a new personal trainer. His name is Tyrone. He's giving me private class free. Anyways, what are you up to tomorrow? Let's hang out." Right? What she did there is that she told you something that would naturally create an insecurity. Big old guy giving her free lessons, and then she changed the topic. She didn't let you elaborate. She didn't let you ask questions. What are you talking about? Who is this guy? Right? And by her changing the topic and you forgetting about that, it's going to go into your unconscious. And then you're going to process it a few days later. And you might even notice you want to go to the gym. You might even notice you start working out because all of a sudden you're in competition with this big old black guy. It could be that she's a tall white girl with a big butt, right? But no boobs. And then you say, yo, I love Kate Upton. I love her style and the way she looks, so attractive. Anyway, Melissa, what are you up to tomorrow? Let's hang out. You change the topic, right? What that does, it creates you're sort of creating a little insecurity unconsciously. So talk about somebody or something. If she's big and white, talk about a small boob celebrity. Say how you like it, and then change the topic. Change it so that she doesn't ask why. And that's gonna go in her unconscious, and that creates insecurity where you're the only one that could remove that insecurity. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. That's a good one. Like kind of to comment on that. Like another one is like it's sort of similar is putting yourself in the position of the judge. So you're the judge. So when a girl says, "Oh, I'm really good at this," you say, "I'll be the judge of that," right? So that's a very powerful frame to be in. Is that you're evaluating her, right? So that's like kind of also on that topic.
That's nice. That is really nice. That is really good.
Well, let's go darker, bro. I gave some dark ones. I feel like yours weren't as dark as mine. Like yours was pretty, I don't know, pretty like socially acceptable.
Well, of course. I mean, for me, for example, when you say that, I'll be the judge of that. I always like to say, what is the mentality of somebody who would say that? What else would they say? You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody naturally says that, what kind of person is this? I like asking myself, what would somebody who naturally says that, what kind of person they are? Because it unlocks other kinds of behavior by understanding what kind of man would say something like that. Because that says a lot. That is the type of guy that says, I'm not that. And I like it a lot, to be honest with you. It's really good.
Dude, that's funny you say that, because actually one of the big turning points for me with text game was when I started thinking, you know what, how would Leonardo DiCaprio text this girl, right? That was like when I started looking at it through that lens. And I don't know, I don't think I came up with this. I think I read this somewhere. Like, I'm not going to take credit for that. I don't know. But like, that's something. And that was like a game changer for me. Because when I start, how would Dan Bilzerian text this girl back? Would he justify himself? Would he be really long and lengthy? Or would he just be very short and succinct and just give her like one sentence? Like, you know, so when you look at it from that perspective, and that's what I like to do. Like, at least when I was learning, like now it's pretty much all automatic. But when I was learning text game and I wasn't sure how to respond, I would just sit there. How would a celebrity, or how would Dan Bilzerian reply to this girl? How would a guy who's had, already like a foursome, a threesome today, how would he respond to this text? And when you put yourself in that frame, you come up with much better text.
And you notice your text become more simpler. Your dick complicates things. Your dick thinks you got to do a fucking backflip, a fucking somersault, a spinneroonie I'm look, man. The difference between me and most coaches is I'm a straight shooter, okay? Right. And I try to make it simple. If you don't, I'm not gonna be funny to you. I'm not gonna make jokes. I'm not gonna try to be interesting over text, okay? If you want me to be interesting, give me a call. But over text, I'm not gonna be interesting with you. We're just gonna set up the date, because if you don't want on the phone with me, it says a lot. To me, the fact that you don't want to get on the phone with me says everything, in fact. Because no girl, and I document this, okay? No girl who never wanted to get on the phone with me never had sex with me. It's never happened. The girl that got on the phone with me, a good portion of them have sex. But every girl who said they don't like talking on the phone, they never met up with me, right? To me, that's a test of how attracted they are to me. You know, I mean, look, some guys have more patience, okay, and I'll give them credit, right? Some guys have more patience. Some guys are more.
Fall into that category. Like, I'm definitely a very patient person when it comes to certain things.
And I'll give you a bro. It says a lot about your character. It says you don't take things personal. Me, I'm one of those toxic motherfuckers that I'm like, I ain't dealing with your bullshit, right? If I'm gonna call you, if you don't want to talk now, give me a call when you get the time. That's what I say to them. I'll call them and say, give me a call when you get the time. For example, if I get a girl's number, I call them. I call them, and if they don't pick up, I'll say, hey, it's Alex. Give me a call back when you get the time, and that's that. It's that simple. Because, bro, I'm telling you, man, any woman could text you, but not a lot of women will call you. And the only women that will call you are the ones that like you or who are interested enough to. Now, that don't mean she's gonna fuck you just because she called you on the phone. Don't get me wrong, but it says a lot, and it'll save you a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I have different styles, even though we have the same name. We're both Alex. Right? I think we have slightly different styles. I mean, nothing you've said so far is I would consider toxic. Like, you have a different approach than me when it comes to certain things. I would say you and I agree on like 60%, probably disagree on 40%. I think we probably agree on most of the big ideas, not all of them. We just agree on like the means to the end, but we agree on the ends. But I wouldn't say you fall into the category of like, the toxic red pill coaches or like preaching hate or whatever. I mean, the fact that you have female clients is a testament of the fact that you can't be that toxic. Otherwise, girls would not be like fucking scheduling appointments with you and paying you money. But I did want to ask this question: if you could give one piece of advice to men and then one piece of advice to women, like something that you see them, fucking up it. Like, for example, like one big piece of advice I would give to men is keep your shit simple. Like, always like think, how can I simplify this thing? I think a big problem guys run into with texting and dates is they overcomplicate things. They send these long fancy texts. They set up these long complicated dates. My dates, drinks at a bar or drinks at my place. That's it. I don't do activity dates. Now, if I'm seeing a girl, yeah, I'll do shit with her, but like not on the first date, right? Not before I slept with a girl. One big piece of advice I would have for women is, unfortunately, most guys are not going to be able to pick up on the shit. Be more forthcoming. Just be more upfront about what you want, what you don't want. Don't just expect guys to be able to just get it. Like, a lot of guys don't get it. And even sometimes me, like, I get it very much when it comes to like, like anything with the initial hookup and stuff like that. But when it comes to like more like relationshipy dynamics, like if it's a girl who I've been seeing for over a year, I tend to miss stuff sometimes. And like the girl will be like, "You're a dating coach. How did you not pick up that I was feeling like that?" I was like, honestly, like I didn't. Like, you have to tell me these things. So that's a big piece of advice I would have for women. So what would kind of be your version of that?
Well, for women, there's a few principles. One, never tell a guy what you want. Okay. Because as soon as you tell a guy, yeah, well, the thing is, we're talking about what will benefit them. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. If they tell you they want a relationship and all of a sudden they give you a gift or they give you like, or they ask you to stay over, you're going to say, oh man, this girl's really falling in love with me, and you might even lose interest because she says she wants a relationship and she's acting like she wants a relationship with you. And a lot of times when they
let me kind of give this counterpoint, because this is definitely one thing you and I would disagree on. What if, like, let's say, so the girl says, I want a relationship. Let's say the guy actually wants a relationship. He wouldn't really have a problem with that. But let's say the guy does not want a relationship. Well, the problem would have come out later anyway. So she just saved herself a lot of time, pursuing a guy who just wants to hook up, right? So what do you think about that counterpoint?
What do you mean? Explain that again.
Okay, so let's say, so your point is that, like, if a girl, for example, wants a relationship, that she should, directly communicate that to the guy, like not say what she wants. My counterpoint to that would be, there's two situations. One, the guy actually wants a relationship himself. So the girl says, I want a relationship. And the guy's like, oh, that's perfect, because I want one too. And now they're both on the same page. Or the guy, for example, is not interested in a relationship, right? And she says, I want a relationship. He says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just looking to keep things casual. Well, with that guy, it would have come out later at some point anyway. So she might as well just get out now, so she saves herself time rather than hang out with this guy for 3 months hoping that he comes around, which he probably won't, because he does not want a relationship. You kind of see my point?
Well, the reason why I say don't tell a guy what you want is because it gives you power. Like, don't tell somebody, if you go into negotiations, don't exactly what you're looking for. Like keep what you really want under yourself. So if you want a relationship, like the thing is that when a woman likes you, they can't control themselves. It becomes very obvious that a woman likes you.
Sure.
So we're talking about when a woman likes you, not when they don't like you. They're two completely different people when they like you or when they don't like you. When they like you, they cannot control themselves. They will show you they like you, and you're gonna see it, right? And it also a lot of guys lie to women. A lot of guys find out that they want a relationship, and so what they'll say is that they were like, oh yeah, I want a relationship too, just to get something out of them.
To get sex.
Exactly, to tell them sweet nothings. So it's kind of like, tell them you don't want a relationship, because what happened is the guy will say, wow, she doesn't want a relationship with me. What? Why not? And it becomes almost like a challenge, and it hurts the ego. It's kind of like, yo, why does it want me? Or even better, you can even say you don't want a relationship, but then talk about your ex, how much you love them. And then he'll say, what the fuck? She wants him, but why not me? What's wrong with me? It puts a guy in a sexual.
Yeah, I definitely see your point. I think it's a fair argument. I would definitely disagree with that, just based on the premise that you can game someone into a very short-term relationship. I don't think you can game, like, so yeah, what you're saying, it will work from a psychological perspective. The problem is, if the guy truly doesn't want a relationship, 2, 3, 4 months in, he's going to dump the girl because he didn't actually want to be in that relationship.
No. I'll say no, because guys will not give up good pussy. Like, they're not. If she gives good head, if she is good top, bro, a lot of guys will not give that up, and he'll say, baby, later on, come on, baby. You don't understand how some of the guys out there that exist. A lot of these guys will women's time, right? So for me, it's kind of like, don't tell people what you want. I even say that with men. Don't tell people what you want. Find out what she wants and tell her what she wants. If she says she wants a relationship, be like, yeah, baby, me too. I want a relationship too. You give her what she wants. because then her
Yeah.
defenses will go lower. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, look, the reason why I say because it's because, bro, I work with women, and unfortunately, this is what they tell me works. You know, it's not like I'm like, you know, pulling out of my ass. It's like it's worked on me. You know, and a lot of guys, you know, it's not just that. I just have a lot of things that I have so many ideas in my head that I just keep going from idea to another. But it's, you know, it's I confuse myself sometimes, to be honest with you, because there's so many things in my head.
Yeah. No, I like that you and I we can have like a, you know, like a good debate. I think it's good to be able to, like, you know, hash out ideas. I guess the counterpoint I would give to that is, let's say, like, for example, you personally, right? Like, let me ask you this question: do you personally want to be like in a monogamous relationship at this point in your life?
It depends on the woman. You know, the thing is that sometimes your plans will change depending on the chemistry you feel with the woman. You know,
That's true,
like,
and I'll agree to that. Like, I'll
yeah.
just use myself as an example then. Like, this Alex, we're going to call me Alex 1.0. So Alex 1.0
Mhm.
at this point in his life does not want to be in a monogamous relationship, long-term relationship, right? And it's not because I don't have a lack of girls. Like, there's you know, one girl who I'm, you know, been hooking up with for over a year. She was in one of my videos. Such an awesome girl. Like, truly awesome girl, right? Like, I have pretty much everything I want. I just don't, and she doesn't want it either, which is good. But like, I don't want to be in a, you know, monogamous, you know, relationship, right? And, you know, I had a girlfriend a year and a half ago. Again, that was the issue. We started off as booty calls. She, you know, she like, yeah, so good in bed, like big titty Latina, you know, like suck dick, like everything sexually, everything you could want. She came to me. She gave us, like, she was also an awesome girl, right? But she, at some point, we went from booty call to her wanting to be an exclusive relationship. And I couldn't give her that. So the point I'm trying to make here is that a girl could potentially game me into a relationship for a few weeks. Well, actually, probably not, because I'm pretty socially aware. But let's say I was not. A girl could probably game me into a relationship for a period of time. But eventually, the fact that I truly, at the core right now, don't want to be in a relationship would come out, and things would end, right? So the girl could do everything right. She could, you know, and if that girl truly wants an exclusive relationship, then she should not, you know, waste her time on me, because I'm not going to be able to give her what she's looking for. Now, if a girl wants to have,
Well,
you know, go ahead.
the thing with that, bro, is that that's her. Like, there right now, there's out in the world that if you meet her, you'll change all of your plans for her. Trust me. Like, your body will say, "Holy shit!" Like, you're gonna feel this. It's almost gonna be like a drug. Like, why do you think people have kids? You think they, like, a lot of times people didn't want to have kids. They just met somebody they love. You know, so
I,
it's kind of like,
I would
yeah.
I would disagree with that, though. Like, I don't think there's any girl in the world who, again, I'm not saying it won't happen later on. I think it will. But at this very point in my life, I don't think there's any girl out there that could get me to commit to be in a monogamous relationship. Now, I would definitely commit to an open relationship if the girl was cool. But a monogamous, like just me and her, serious, exclusive relationship, I don't think there's any girl. Like, okay, to give an example, 2.5 years ago, I met this awesome girl, this Venezuelan chick, like, awesome fucking girl. She checked all my check boxes. And I'll be honest, I fell in love with her. Like, I was truly in love with this girl. It was probably the only girl in my life that I can say I was in love with. Maybe possibly my first girlfriend, but this girl I was really in love with. She checked all the check boxes, like everything.
How old
Like,
are you?
I'm 31. I would have been 28 at the time that this happened. But
Okay.
but I'm not gonna get too much into the backstory. But when the option came to like settle down and marry her, I picked no, right? Like, again, nothing to do with her. She couldn't have done anything better. It was just like I was not ready for that in my life. So I
Okay, that
kind of,
makes sense. I agree with
yeah,
you. I agree.
I kind of see your
Yeah.
point.
I agree.
That
I think you're wired differently at this moment. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but I do
Yeah.
think the problem a lot of women run into, honestly, from my perspective, is they're wasting the energy on the wrong guys. Like, I think you have to more or less have someone be on the same page as you. Like, it doesn't have to be completely. You're never going to find someone who's 100% on the same page as you, but you have to find someone who's more or less on the same page as you. And a girl, you know, who's, for example, trying to settle down, if she's investing her energy into a guy who's just trying to fuck around, like, that's not gonna, that's a waste of her time. And she could try this and try that, but at the end of the day, she's much better off finding a guy who is looking to settle down, right? If that's what she wants. And like so that would be kind of like my tangent when it comes to that. It's just
I agree with that. I think when I coach women, I tell them that you have to learn to eliminate guys as quick as possible, so that you don't waste your time with the wrong guys. You know, and this is the key. If you have to wonder if he likes you, he doesn't like you.
Correct.
Because when a guy likes you, it is obvious. So if you have to call me to find out if he likes you, it means he doesn't like you. To me, it's one of the easiest way to find out if somebody likes you, my dude. Do you have to think about if they like you? And if you do, then that person is not being honest with you. They don't. Bro, you have to understand, this is an emotional thing. When you like somebody, those emotions are so intense that you cannot control yourself. You give it up. Show that you like them by accident. It just happens. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I would say the only thing is that it's never black and white. It's always scales. Like you can like someone, you know, like let's say 1 through 10. 10 is like deeply madly in love, and 1 is you don't like that person at all. You can be a level 5, you can be a level 6, you can be a level 8, and it can vary. Now it'll never vary from 2 to 10, right? You'll never go from I don't like this person at all to, well, actually it will with women. Like sometimes a woman will not like you at all, and you can get her to really like you. You can like kind of win her over, but it won't going the other way. It won't be like, I really don't like this girl. You know, I don't find her attractive to like, I'm going to marry this girl. That rarely happens. So I do think that like, you can improve it a bit, but you know, it's going to be close to baseline. So I do think there's levels of it.
For me, one of the ways to improve it is to actually hurt them, like inflict pain, emotional pain, which is toxic. I don't agree with that. But if you
yeah, you are kind of getting the toxic in the toxic.
Pain produces a kind of obsession in people. Now, the pain doesn't produce natural love; it produces egoic love. You hurt my ego, and I want you back because you're the only one that can make me feel good because you have something that belongs to me, right? So that could be breaking up with them after a few months of going out with them, right? It could be canceling dates from time to time for them to feel like you're losing interest, and then you come back all of a sudden like nothing happened. It could be not responding.
You're definitely Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's like literally what he talks about in the Dennis system.
For real?
That's funny.
But I mean, but you have to. If once a woman is able to predict you, she loses respect for you. You got to be unpredictable. So for me, I have a texting pattern that I tell guys to do. Okay. The first text of the day that she texts you, take 2 to 3 hours to respond to the first text of the day. And then after that, you go back and forth with her 3 times, taking 5 to 20 minutes to respond each time. And then you go back to 2 to 3 hours. Once out of every 4 or 5 times, you break that pattern and you respond instantly on the first text of the day to keep her, to not allow her to see your patterns, right? Once a month, you completely disappear. Well, you don't respond. But then when you return, you always have a valid excuse. You say, my mama got sick or work or whatever. Why? Because if you don't give her a nation, she's going to think playing games. And then she's going to start playing those games. So have a valid excuse.
Is this before you bang the girl or after? Like if you're trying, is this like with your girlfriend or a chick you haven't met yet?
For me, if you haven't met the chick, call her.
No, I mean like the strategy you're describing, like in what situation would you use it? Like, is this a girl you've been hooking up with, or what's the which category of girls?
Well, we're hooking up with, or if you're dating her, keep that same pattern. It doesn't matter the situation. But the key is to break that pattern too, right? Don't just keep once out of every 4 times, text her back quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, because she's gonna say, "What the fuck?" He always takes 2 hours to respond every single time, right? So just always do that. Right. And then from time to time, because a woman did this to me, she came over to my place and she didn't want to have sex. She was like, I want to spend time with you, but she didn't want to touch me. She didn't want to kiss. She kissed me, but she just didn't come to me. She would sit like behind the table, like a barrier between me and her. And then she left early.
Cast me out. Get out, woman. No,
but you know what? It made me insecure. I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? Why is she acting weird? But you know what? It made me think of her more. It made me try to understand her, right? So
you and I are so different in that sense, because if a girl is unless there's a valid reason why she's holding back sex. If a girl's holding back sex, I lose interest, and I'm like, okay, she's using sex as a bargaining chip, which some women do. I'm not interested in that. Like, I don't want to have. So for me,
Well,
if
you
a
know
girl
the
does,
game.
I would actually lose interest.
You know the game, though. You know.
Oh, I know the game. I know the
Okay.
game well, but there's certain games that I like
Okay.
to play, and certain games I don't like to play.
Yeah. Well, most guys know. Well, bro, it worked. I knew the game and it worked on me. This is not a lot, bro. When you like, bro, there's a difference between a girl who you don't like doing this versus a girl that's afraid of losing doing this to you. It's a complete difference. This is not a rational thing. This is not a logical thing. This is an emotional thing.
Oh
When
no,
you
I
like,
totally get that. Yeah, I just think I guess it kind of depends on how the guy's wired. But I guess like kind of this is my advice. So I think game is really important. But what I always say, because guys always ask, oh, how do I text my booty call? Right? This is advice I always give. How do you text your booty call? How do you text your girlfriend? Whatever. I text my booty calls. I text my ex-girlfriends the same way I text my close friends. But the only exception is there's an element of sexuality to it. That's it. So with my close friends, like I never think, oh shit, like should I respond right away? Should I take time? How long should my text be? Like how many times a week should I text my close friend to keep them as my friend? I never think that, right? Like they're my friend. Like I can text them, something comes up, I'll text them a million fucking times, about something that happened. Nothing's going on, I won't text them for days. So that's exactly the same way I've always approached like booty calls and girlfriends after sex has happened. And another element is just I truly do believe in like very honest communication. So like if something's on my mind, I will say it. I tell the girls, hey, listen, if there's something that's going on, between us that you don't like, I want you to tell me. So I also definitely believe in like very much, and I think like great communication. I think the biggest reason the relationships end is that resentment starts to build because of poor communication. So someone starts doing something the other person doesn't like. They don't say anything. That person keeps doing it, and resentment builds. And once a lot of resentment builds, it gets too late. So I always say, like, listen, just fully open communication. That's another big thing. Just treating them like a really close friend, with, of course, the sex element. So that would be kind of like my 2 cents on relationship and anything like post-sex type of texting.
That's you're a healthy guy, bro. I like that. I think
I have my moments. Sometimes I don't. No, but I mean, I think it is good to explore these topics. I always like to go down like explore things, especially when people are doing something I'm not doing, and kind of like I don't know, have like a healthy discussion. So I think that this is like a really good discussion. Do you have anything to add on that before we take questions from the audience?
Well, it's generally speaking, I think that if you're in a relationship with a woman and stuff like that, you got to be careful with treating them as your friends, because it's almost like treating your kid as a friend. They'll end up losing respect for you. Like you can't goof around. You let them be the goofy ones. You be the serious one. Let her be like the little girl hanging around daddy. Daddy's not fucking goofing around. She's goofing around, and he's the one that's serious around. You want to put her in that frame. That means not goofing around. That means not. Imagine that you're the serious dad, and she's the little girl that's like, "Hey, daddy, how are you?" If you have that frame, you'll keep her in a submissive state, which is, women respect that in a way. In a weird way, they respect that. They want a guy. Women want to be with a guy that hates everybody but her. Like he's an asshole with you, but not with me. They like that. They like saying that shit. So that's why I tell guys, be more serious. What's up?
I do think that it's a big part of it is just being congruent with your personality. So like for me, if I was super serious, that would be like very incongruent because I'm just like a fucking goofball. Like a character that I think is a good example is Hank Moody, played by David Duchovny in Californication. Like that guy, fucking, he is kind of a goofball, but he also gets a lot of pussy. I think that you can be a goofball as long as you have that masculine frame. So like me personally,
exactly.
like especially with girls, I crack a lot of jokes. I'm always joking. It's always fun. We're always laughing, right? Like my interactions are never serious. And I actually think there's an advantage to it. I think that when you're first starting to like hang out with a girl, like maybe you've had sex once and she's into you, but she's not fully committed yet. If your interactions to her are like bring her positive emotions, they're like fun, they're lighthearted, like it's a good time, then she's going to be much more likely to come back, whether if it's like a very serious type of thing. So that's kind of like my counterpoint to that. Like I always want for the girl to feel like, oh, Alex is calling. Yeah, this is going to be like a fun, like this is going to be fun for me. This is going to be lighthearted. This is not going to be, you know, whatever, something that drains on me. But I think we might be splitting hairs when it comes to definitions. I do see your point. You don't want to be the clown. Like that's I 100% agree. You don't want to be the guy that's just like fucking clowning and like, you know, it doesn't have that masculine frame. It's not purposeful. But I think it is okay to be goofy as long as you're masculine and you're going for, you know, you're not hiding your intentions, so as to speak.
100% facts.
Yeah. All right, let's say we got some questions building up. Hey, what's the joke here? People call you Father Alex. How did that come about?
Well, because well, people are saying that in the chat.
Yeah.
Well, because sometimes before I make videos, I pray for people. I pray, like, God, I ask thee to save this person, and so it's kind of like a joke, you know. It's a silly joke, man. I don't know how it caught on, but because I was a preacher too, and they used to call me Father when I was a kid.
Oh.
So it's just a joke.
You should use that as a joke with girls. Be like, you know, I used to be a preacher, so people call me Father, but you can just call me Daddy.
Daddy, right? Yeah, I use that line too. Yeah, it's so silly, Father Alex.
You know, RC Julian does that now. He goes by Father Julian, I think, or Brother Julian. I forget, one of those.
Yo, those RZ guys are turning. I don't know what the hell is going on with them.
Yeah. Like, they're going pure nonsense. It's a shame, dude.
Yeah.
I used to think Julian was really fun. I learned a lot from old school RSD Julian. Like he was definitely my favorite out of the bunch.
Hell yeah.
His old videos, like I think there's definitely a lot of value in them. But like the direction they've gone is such a shame. Like it's all like hokey pokey, watered down nonsense now. Or at least for the most part.
I hit up Max RSD one day, and I was like, "Yo, Max, I just want to say because I bought his course Natural, and I was like, hey, your course helped me. I improved my channel." And then he was like, "So how much are you making?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm making this much." He was like, "I can help you double it." And then he started to me. I'm like, "Bitch, I'm saying thank you. Like, what the fuck? You selling me? Like, Jesus Christ. It's like, you can't even say hi, you know? Like, it's crazy.
Dude, I know exactly what you mean. And that's also a pet peeve of mine. It was when people like this, like greed, this constant need to like make money. Like, that shit is annoying as fuck to me. Like, you know, like, guys, give me super chats. If you want me to answer a question, give me a super chat. Like, you know, like I'm doing pretty well. I'm like well off. Like, am I gonna try to grow my company, make my money? Yes, but like I don't have this. Like, I don't mind giving people value for free. Like, that's okay. If you know, it's like, so yeah, I hate that shit. Like this constant upsells. Like I'm a big believer in not doing upsells. You know, you buy my product, that's all you need. I'm not gonna try to sell you 10 more products, right? So yeah, I agree with you. The upsells and all that shit is so fucking annoying. But yeah,
bro.
This guys, can you please Hector from Girls Chase on next? So he's already been on the podcast. So go back 3 months. Me and
he's good. He's good. I used to read his articles.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's living in Romania right now. But yeah, I like him.
Dude. Nice.
Can you please say happy birthday to my friend Nick Gurr? Happy birthday, Nick. I don't know what. Cool. Okay, this is interesting. It's like sales not every lead will pan out. For whatever reason, Facebook dating got me laid plenty. Do you ever use Facebook dating, Alex?
I wonder what country is he from? You know, like what country is he from? Because in the United States, I don't know. I haven't gotten laid from it. Have you?
I personally, so I've been banned from Facebook for 4 years, so I don't have the luxury of Facebook dating. After the Vice article came out, I got like fucking perma banned from Facebook. I mean, I could in theory create like a troll account, whatever. But actually, when I used to create accounts, as soon as I would like start, like as long as if I upload a picture or start posting in like the Playing with Fire group, my account would get banned. I don't know if that's still the case. But anyway, so but I know a few people who have fucked with Facebook dating, and kind of the observation I've seen based on their experience is that you can really like get high quality girls on Facebook dating, match with them, talk to them. Like if you're a guy who's maybe getting like 2 to 3 matches a week, you can get like 5 or whatever conversations going a day on Facebook dating. The problem with Facebook dating is girls there on average are a lot more flaky and they're a lot less serious about actually meeting up. So that's like the one counter side to that. So like even though Tinder is pretty flaky, Tinder girls are going to be more serious about meeting up than Facebook dating girls. So there's pros and cons, kind of what I've seen.
Fact. I like seeking arrangement.
Oh, dude, let's touch on that. What's your strategy on there?
Bro, my strategy is just do it in Mexico. I just hit up girls in Mexico. I don't care. I'll pay for some of those girls. I have no shame in my game. I'm like, wait, so whatever.
Like, for when you go to Mexico, or you like fly them out, or what's?
Yeah, when I go to Mexico. For example, Mexico's not hard to get laid. Don't get me wrong, it's not hard. But if I want to find a specific girl for like a threesome, and there's another girl that I met on Tinder for threesome, I'll just hit up a girl. You know, like it's more of like a convenience, you know.
But how do you get them to come to New York? Like, what do you do on that end?
No, dude, I'm in Mexico. When I'm in Mexico.
Oh, when you're in Mexico, got it. Okay. Yeah, I would actually be personally a little sketched out to do seeking arrangement in third world countries. I find that seeking arrangement can be like no.
No, you just ask them to come to your place, and they'll do it, bro. Like some of them don't even charge you. They just want to meet you because they like you. You know, it's nice. It's not sketchy. It really isn't. It's not sketchy at all.
Yeah,
you're dating coach and you're hitting up escorts? Yeah. Yep. Sometimes.
But are you doing Salt Daddy game where you're basically trying to like not pay, or are you just using the website the way it's meant to be used?
I use it the way it's meant to be used. You know, because I don't want to, you know, they're already struggling enough. I'm not going to try to play them, you know, so it's kind of like, you know, I don't care.
My whole thing is that even if I have to like pay a girl, like let's say like I have money now, like, well, I mean, I'm not rich or anything, but, you know, I can afford, like paying up girls on seeking arrangement. But even if I have to pay a girl $1, I won't do that because it completely ruins the experience for me. So the idea that I had to pay the girl anything like 50 cents, 1 cent, for her company is like totally like a huge turnoff for me. Like,
I mean, that's 50 cents, bro. That's a good deal.
It is a good deal. But like,
no, but you know what, Alex, you're right, because it does take away that layer of excitement, you know, because it's so predictable, you know.
For me, I would say it's more of an ego thing, to be honest, or just more of a self-esteem thing, whichever way you want to describe it. Like personally, like I travel to South America from time to time. Every time I've been to Colombia, like there's a reason, like, dude, like in Colombia, you can pay $50 and have sex with like a 10, right? Which is like, like if I charge $200 an hour, that's 15 minutes of my time, versus I'm gonna spend 2 hours, chatting with a girl, going on a date, using Google Translate. So from like a financial perspective, it makes a lot more sense to just pay for sex. But like I won't do that because that like completely, like I'd rather have sex with a 7 or an 8 that I gained, who likes me, for me or whatever, than a 10 who I had to pay for, even if it was like $10. But that's kind of like my personal hang up. But going back to seeking arrangement, I think we lost Alex. All this seeking arrangement talk. All right, let's wait for Alex to come back on. Let me see if he's messaging me. Yeah, where's Alex? Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Well, all right, about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
It's because escorts are like the drive-through of pussy, But when you game them, it's like you're hunting for your food, so you feel more rewarded. In fact, your body actually likes working for getting pussy. Your body doesn't like being handed pussy. They like to work for it. That's why I think celebrities. What?
I was gonna say, it's funny you say that, because with me personally, and maybe I'm just wired differently, I actually really like it when sex is super easy. So I actually really like it if I like for example, 2 months ago, I was walking down the street with my buddy, and there was this hot Latina, and we made eye contact, and within 30 seconds we're just making out on the street, right? And then her friends are trying to drag her away. I'm like, wait, before you go, WhatsApp, TNS WhatsApp. She gives me her WhatsApp number. Like literally, that was our whole interaction. Message her, she messages me back. A few days later, we meet up. She comes straight to my place and we smash. We don't even fucking speak the same language. But I actually really like that because it was so easy. It's just like, I guess, of an ego thing. If I have to like pay for it, then I don't like it. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, yeah, it's because your body likes to work for things. You know, that's why celebrities, we may say, wow, they're able to get every woman in the world. Those guys are bored with women. I'm not lying to you, bro. It's too easy for them. They don't enjoy it as much as me and you enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to smoke weed every day. It's better to smoke weed once a week than every day. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like
it's definitely a good point.
Mhm.
Like back when I was in high school growing up, weed was like kind of hard to get. So it was like like now weed is so easy to get. Like I can within 20 minutes I could have like every type of weed, right? Like it's easy now, like especially living where I live. Well, like yeah, I remember in high school it's hard to get, so it's like yeah, we have to get weed. It was like a whole mission. Then you got the weed, then you'd smoke it. Like yeah, this is so great. It was like shitty weed too, but you would like enjoy it. So yeah, I see your point.
Yeah, man, and that's why it's kind of a blessing that we work for it. To be honest with you, you know, like even though it's kind of like for guys who don't get laid, you're like, what the fuck? It's not a fucking blessing. Like I know it's not in your case, but if you get pussy from time to time, it's better to have it from time to time than all the time because you enjoy it more.
Bro, but what are we gonna do when our YouTube channels blow up and we become legit celebrities?
I wouldn't want to be a celebrity. That would suck, bro. That would suck. No privacy.
I actually think I would enjoy it in some ways. I think there's a difference between being like an A-list celebrity. Oh fuck, we keep losing Alex. All right, let's get Alex back, and then we'll kick things off again. Damn, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, what up, buddy?
Hey, sorry, I don't know what's going on with this. So you like about being a celebrity?
Yeah, I think it's something I would actually enjoy. I do think there's a difference between being an A-list celebrity and being like a D-list celebrity that like some people know, but like not everybody knows. I don't know. Like it would fuck you. I think it would suck to be like someone too famous like Leonardo DiCaprio because you can't go anywhere. Like you can't like just quietly enjoy time with your family. I don't know. Yeah. You know, I think it's also different.
Being a YouTube celebrity is much better than being a movie star because you are recognized, but not as often. You know, and the more you're known, the more people are going to come after you. The more people envy you, the more your friends envy you. You know, the more your family members know how much money you have. Because when you're a big time celebrity, everybody knows your net worth. In fact, your net worth might be more than real. You know, so people might be asking for money. So it's better to be low key and to move up in the world without being too known, because then you can live your life to the fullest. But bro, those celebrities, man, it's like they're surrounded by fake friends. Nobody really wants to be their friends. They only want to be around them because they're famous. They don't really know who are their real friends.
Yeah.
You know, like being like people like Mayweather, all those kind of guys, they don't have real friends because they don't know who to trust. Not even their family members they could trust them. You know.
No, you make a good point. That's why a lot of celebrities are very like, yeah, again, like they don't know who to trust. Who's actually interested in being friends with them? And women, is the woman actually interested in them as a person or just for the money and the clout? And the same thing. Yeah, and the statistics kind of support what you're saying because you find that a lot of like if you look at the statistics on lottery winners, they're super depressing. A lot of them are like depressed within a year. They're like, you know, they have a lot winning the lottery apparently has a super high chance of leading to a divorce. So there's like a lot of shit that happens when you become become rich. That is negative. So yeah, I see your point, for sure.
So ironic. So ironic.
Yeah, no, it is. Who has that line? More money, more problems. Someone says that. It's like a famous rapper.
Yeah, Biggie.
Yeah. So someone says he's right. We would never flake on a guy we like even before we met. Yeah. So. There we go. We got a girl in the audience.
Yeah. I mean, but you're right. Sometimes a woman don't know you, and they may like you, but not enough. But it's kind of like, what do you want? Like some guys don't mind working for it, and that's fine. Me, I want a girl who really likes me from the start. So it's kind of like it depends. It depends on what you're willing to do. You know what I'm saying? And me, I just got tired of like working for women who didn't like trying to like I don't know I just don't have for that, you know. You know, like even though it's a quick text, I tend to resent people who don't respect me and my time, and maybe it's my toxicity because I take it as a disrespect to my person, but that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not tolerant of it. But generally speaking, it's like when a woman really likes you, she'll tell her friends. She'll want to fucking teleport to the. She'll want to time travel to the time of the date just to be with you. You know, no woman. Well, the problem is that women are more patient than men are. So I'm kind of
Some of
contradicting
them.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Some
you're
not.
right. It's because they have options.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest factor. They have so many options nowadays. I think
Yeah.
Instagram and online dating has changed the game a lot because, like in our parents' generation, like they would meet girls. You know, how could you meet girls? Through friends, through college, through work. That was maybe cold approach. I don't know if people were doing that in like the 70s or 80s, but like really, those were like
Grannies
the
or grannies
what's
recommending you their granddaughters.
yeah, oh yeah, like introductions, but like the tools. So a hot girl, she did not have 100 guys trying to get in her pants, right? Because there was just not that many guys around, right? Versus now, any hot girl who has a Instagram has thousands of guys trying to smash her, right? So she is bombarded with options. That's why if you go to like third world countries, like like Colombia. I'm not saying Colombia is a third world country, but like second world, whatever. You go to poorer countries like Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, South America, like where the dating marketplace is completely different, like you're gonna have girls chasing you. And it's not all of them
Mhm.
just to, fucking marry an American, like some, but not all. A lot of them is just because they don't have as many options, like where they live. Because usually what happens in third world countries is the guys who have value, like the high value guys, they typically move to first world countries. So the guys who are like successful doctors, lawyers, whatever, they typically wind up moving. So what you have left is a bunch of hot girls, but not too many high value guys for them, right? That's
Yeah,
kind of an
right.
interesting observation I found. Like we were talking about earlier, like I'm from Belarus originally. Belarus is considered like amongst like pickup guys one of the best places to bang European girls, right? Like
Is it open
probably
now?
not after what happened after fucking Lukashenko went down that plane. Now you can't fly in there. So, but it was up until the recent scandal, I think. Um,
Fuck.
yeah, God only knows what's going to happen with that moving forward because the fucking president slash dictator. But anyway, that's a whole different tangent. But anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that it was a really, really good place because no one wanted to live there. So all the high value men would leave. But women typically are less inclined to leave because they have their families. So women are more likely to stay where they grew up just because that's where their families, that's where their friends are. So you had all these really hot girls and no high value guys to like the guys that would stay in Belarus would be like the drunks, the alcoholics, the guys who had no money, right? The lower value guys. So that's why like if a guy who has a shit together, like good looking, decent looking, went to Belarus, he could just clean up, like absolutely. Versus
Mm.
like in a place like the U.S.
Yeah, especially
But
women likes what's different. It's funny is that I tell guys and women one of the easiest way to become more attractive is to go where you're around. If you're black, go to Europe. If you're fat,
oh
go to Africa. You know, like it's like you gotta go where you're wanted. There's no shame in that.
right,
Go where
yeah,
you're
no, I
wanted.
mean that's definitely true. I had Darius on the last podcast, and we were talking about the like if you're a black guy and you go to Japan, you're gonna like crush it with chicks. This whole because there's no
Oh,
black guys in Japan, and so like like a black guy will do better in Japan on average than a white guy, right? There's not a lot of places in the world where that's the case, but Japan is one of them. Just simply, there's no black people in Japan, or like very
for
few.
me,
Uh,
easiest place that I've ever been to get laid with the hottest women is Amsterdam, without a
really?
doubt.
Okay. I've never been
Oh,
to Amsterdam.
Lord, bro, I don't understand what's in the water, but the women, they're just attracted to whatever the hell I look. I don't know what it is. It's like it's a complete difference. They're hot. They fuck. You don't fuck them. They fuck you. They were like, let's go home. I'm like, whoa, bitch, Jesus Christ, let me finish my. you know, like it's like they're more aggressive there. It's And they're hot too. Fat asses, big titties, beautiful,
Yeah.
tall.
I wonder how much of that has to do with your. I wonder how much of that has to do with your look, because you obviously don't look like standard guy from Amsterdam. Well, actually, on that topic, I want to ask, what's like your racial background?
I'm Dominican.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so but like I don't think there's a lot of like darker skin, curly hair Dominican looking guys in Amsterdam. So thus you stand out.
Nope.
I wonder if I would have the same experience if I personally went there, because I probably
I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you do better in South America.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. For black people, well, in fact, black guys do well in South America too. Depending, like in Mexico, if you're black, you're gonna get some Mexican pussy. It's that simple. In Europe, you're gonna get some European pussy. Okay. Japan will, except China, they're racist. It is what it is. Nothing wrong with that.
China and Korea. Koreans are racist against everybody. Dude, it's funny because I have a friend. He's like, very Scandinavian looking. He's also named Alex. We just fucking live in a world of Alexes apparently. But very tall, very blonde, white guy, right? And he was living in Korea for a bit, and he was actually dating. Like he was in a relationship with a Korean girl. And dude, literally, they would walk down the street, and random people would come up and say shit in Korean that he didn't understand. And the girl would start crying. He'd be like, "Why are you crying?" And because people would come up to her and call her a slut, a whore for being with a white guy. Like it's that bad. And like Korea, from what I've heard, never been there, is like one of the most racist countries against like white people, and I'm assuming black people as well.
Well, that's the world where we're at. White people are under attack.
Dude, Korean culture is so fucking bizarre. Like I like elements of it because the food is really good, but like it's so fucking weird. Like I used to live in Koreatown in Los Angeles, and like I immersed myself in the culture because that was literally what was around me. It is so fucking bizarre. Like, well, that's a whole topic we can get into. It's but it's so fascinating and so bizarre. Why do girls like guys that don't like them? I always wonder that. What's your take on that?
Well, why do girls like guys? Well, because the guys are acting more cold. It hurts their ego. It's like, oh, you don't like me? What the fuck? Every guy likes me. So it's and also the guy behaves different when they don't like the girl. They behave more attractive. They act how they're supposed to act. In fact, they're more serious. They're more masculine. Notice when you don't like the girl, you're more masculine. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Yeah. Your behavior changes. The way you text her changes. You stop laughing because you don't like the bitch, so you don't laugh that much. You don't even look at her because you don't find her attractive. So you look at her less, and she senses that.
Right.
Yeah. So a woman will react to your coldness with warmth. It's how it works, and that's why I tell guys, if you want to be your most attractive self, notice behave when you don't like somebody, and implement that. Literally, just do that. For example, there was this one guy that I was playing basketball, right? And I asked the guy, I was like,
we keep losing Alex. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this internet. All right, let's bear with him for a second.
So I asked the guy, you see me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked the guy, yo, who got next, right? And the guy was like, didn't even look at me. He was like, I don't know, right? And before I would react to that, okay. I would say, all right, I'm the Lexus, by the way. But now I'm like, okay. But then when he did that, I was like, okay. I just acted cold with him too, right? Before I left, he was like, yo, what's your name? And I was like, I'm the Lexus, what's your name? Oh, I'm Mike, nice to meet you, right? So he sensed my coldness. I didn't react with happy functions because acting cold. I reacted to his coldness with coldness. And what happens is that people respect that. Like they respect that. Like it's a weird thing. When somebody acts cold, you don't act warm. You treat them how they treat you. So if they're at a level of 2, you meet them at a level of 1. You be colder than them. And your coldness makes them warm up to you. You get what I'm trying to say?
No, I definitely do, and I definitely agree with that. Like when I used to do sales, one of the things I was known for, I was quite good at my job when I did sales. And the problem a lot of my coworkers made is when a customer was like kind of cold towards them, like, hey, when was the last time you checked out solar for your house? They'd be like, oh, I don't know if I'm interested in that. And they would be like, oh, well, I'll like they would try to break them down with warmness. I did the opposite. If they went cold towards me, I'll respond with coldness. They'd be like, oh, I don't know if I'm interested in that. So I'd be like, why? Do you not qualify? Like they're like, what do you mean I don't qualify? Well, everyone doesn't qualify for solar. So, you said you're not interested, so I'm assuming you don't qualify, right? Like I would respond with coldness. And that worked really well, much better than going up top. So I definitely see your point.
Yeah, and that's why I tell guys, when you go to work or when you're around women, the colder one. Be good at what you do. Be polite. Be a complete gentleman. Just don't be this fucking happy-go-lucky guy that's talking to everybody. Right. Be the one that people say, yo, who is he? He's chilled. He doesn't say much, but who is he? What does he do? And when they talk to you, you talk to them with a politeness, with a serious politeness. Right? Because it forces them to want to warm you up. That's what it does. Right. It makes them want to bring out the happy side of it, because you're so cold, not cold like the fucking Terminator. That's not what I'm talking about. But politely cold. It's kind of like one time I had a job when I was a therapist. Actually, I had two people who I worked under, my supervisor and the district director. Right? I thought the supervisor was the main boss. Everybody treated the supervisor like the top one. You want to know why? Because the supervisor had like this serious auntie look about her. She was like, so Alexis, did you do the work? Good. And if you pissed her off, she would look away. Right? She was okay with showing negative emotion. The director was like, hey, Alexis, so how are you? I hope you had a great day. I thought that the other one was the one with the power. I mean, it was the happy-go-lucky one. But who did people respect more? The one that was more serious and focused. The one that didn't smile that much. The one that didn't try to please you by trying to sound all happy and shit. And when you try to sound all happy and shit, and try to sound like the funniest on the planet, this is the thing, bro. Unconsciously, people lose a little respect for it. It's like the assistant teacher. Like when you have a teacher, the teacher goes away and then you have a new teacher because it's replacing that teacher, right? If that teacher tries to be nice to the students the first day, the students are going to take advantage of them. But if the teacher sets the tone from the start, serious, hey, okay, guys, we're getting work, right? If you just have a serious tone from the beginning, then you can warm up later. But don't start warm. Start cold and then warm up. Does that make sense?
No, it does, and I think you're bringing up a good point. I definitely agree with that. And the last thing you want to do is be a people pleaser and cater your personality to please people you're around. People do lose respect if you do that, and people can pick up on if you're being a people pleaser, So I agree with that.
Yeah, and I'm reading the comments. It says these guys will never admit that looks matter. Oh, looks matter. 100%.
We both admitted it. What is that guy talking about? We both talked about that. We both agree that looks matter. Who's you're commenting on the wrong fucking channel. Go and comment on RSD. Right? They're the ones denying it. I had videos where I talk about how to improve your looks because looks matter. 56 watching, 23 likes, unacceptable. Agreed. Unacceptable, guys. So let's get the likes up. Helps us out. All right, so let's see what else we get. Oh, this one says, a lot of friends with benefits usually end up in relationships. Very true. That is true. I've had pretty much every relationship I've ever been in started out with a friends with benefits. So that's very true.
Remember when I told you to women, I tell women, don't tell guys what you want, right?
Right.
You just say you want to have sex with them. The more you see them, the more that you end up liking them. It's how it works. Well, because think about it. If you hang out with Hitler long enough, you're going to end up liking something about Hitler. I mean, it's just how it is, right? So it's kind of.
Hitler wasn't notoriously really good to animals. He was really good, fond of dogs.
He was an artist. He was an environmentalist, right? He would have a lot of things in common.
He had a questionable opinion on the Jews. He wasn't too fond of the Jewish people, but other than that,
Yeah, he just had different opinions,
Yeah, different opinions. Like me personally, I think, my people, the Jews, they should half Jewish. They should be free to do their thing, We don't have to stick us in chambers and kill us, We won't steal your money. We're cool. We cool.
Yeah, man. They're used for other things, not that. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, when somebody tells you they want a relationship, when a woman tells you she wants a relationship, bro, you kind of your defenses go up a little bit. It just does a little bit, like, and this is one out of like the many things that I tell. It sounds a little like, really, you say that, but there's a bigger purpose for it. What I want happens is that men fall in love without men will fall in love without knowing it. Like, you just are gonna fall in love by mistake. And when a woman tells you she wants a relationship, mentally you kind of put her in a certain place. You're like, okay, this girl wants a relationship, all right. But when you don't know what she wants, all of a sudden you don't know what's in her head. You don't you don't know the motives of why she does this or that. Because you don't know what she wants. Most women are transparent. They tell you what they want. They're too open, and that takes away the mystery. Keep that shit to yourself, or better yet, redirect. Create a smoke screen. Say that you want something different when you really want this. Say you want that. It'll confuse the guy. It'll make a guy wonder, what does she want? And that's what you want. When a guy figures you out, you're done.
I see your point. I see the argument you're making. Again, my point, my counter argument is that I think these short, like, you can't game someone into something for a significant period of time. It might work short term, but it's not going to work long term. But yeah, anyway, we touched on this pretty extensively earlier. So let's go to this question. Do either of you play hard to get on the first date to show that you're not try hard guy needing to impress? What techniques do you use to show that you're not desperate for her? So I'll let you take this question first.
Well, first of all, it depends what country you're in. Let's just be honest. It depends what country you're in. Okay.
Sure,
in Mexico and South America, you could be a little bit more open. You could actually go the games and be yourself in South America.
In Brazil, if you go on a date with a girl and you're not making out with her in the first half an hour, she's gonna think you're gay.
Yeah. I mean, in Europe, you could be open with them. In Europe, you could say, "Hey, I want a threesome. You want to do that?" Like it depends on what country you're from.
Yeah,
he's from America. He looks like a one guy from America, so I'll assume he's from America. Naturally speaking,
before we jump to the explanation, can you because your thing is freezing again, so can you go ahead and black it out, because I think it's gonna be better. Yeah, there we go. All right, go ahead.
Okay. The way that you show that you're not needy is just to lower your nonverbals. Just lower when you like the girl, you don't know how goofy you're looking. You're laughing at every one of her jokes. You're agreeing with everything she's saying. You're talking fast. You're responding fast. Just slow everything fucking down. That to me is one of the most important things. Just slow everything down. If she responds, take half a second longer to respond to her. Speak a little slower. Even move slower. Have an economy of motion and an economy of words. It's going to show her that you're not in a hurry. Just by doing that, it'll pretty much do it. Now, let's just say you actually have sex with her, right? You bring her home and you have sex with her. Don't call her back until another week. Or better yet, take 2 weeks to message her, right? Because it hurts a woman's ego when it'll hear from you next week. So take 1 or 2 weeks to text her and say, "Hey, I couldn't text you this week. I was busy. Let's hang out some other time." But in that week, she was like, "Hey, he texted me. Was it not good? Did I do something?" This whole time she's trying to figure out why she hasn't heard from you. Even if she didn't like you, she's gonna say, "Who the fuck does he think he is for not calling?" Right? All of those.
So let me just quickly comment on this part. I would actually definitely disagree with you on that one, because what I think reality will happen is you don't text a girl for a week or two. She's gonna her ego's gonna get hurt. But then when you do hit her up, her ego might not allow her to text you back. She's gonna be like, fuck this guy. Like, and who does he think she is in her ego?
You got to give her a valid excuse. Say why you didn't text her. Because if you don't give her an excuse and you just say, "Hey, baby, what's up?" She's going to say, "Who the fuck does he think he is?" Say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I was busy. This came up. I couldn't do it. My grandma choked on the top. I help her. How's your week?" Like, you're giving her a valid excuse so that her ego doesn't get too hurt. You get what I'm trying to say? Like,
I do.
Imagine.
Yeah, I mean, my strategy is like literally the opposite of that. Like, me personally, I like to set up. I'll literally text the girl, like, if we have sex, I'll text her that night and say that was hot. and then I'll make plans within the next few days. I want to get the second and third bang in if I like her. I want to keep seeing her as fast as possible. And really, because the ultimate way of building investment is sex. So if I have sex with a girl a few times, she's going to be locked in. Like if I do want, keep seeing her.
Put it this way, Alex. Put it this way, Alex. Remember when they asked the question, why do women like guys that don't like them? Exactly. This is one of the things that guys don't like.
So I actually think that because it's funny because I've had this discussion with girls. So I think the reason that girls don't like guys that don't like them is not actually because they don't like them. That's only part of it. But because a guy who doesn't like the girl, that typically implies certain things about the guy. One, he has a high level of abundance in his life, because if he doesn't like that girl, then chances are he's getting with girls who are hotter or whatever. So it implies that he has a level of abundance. It implies that he's not needy. Because if he doesn't like her, he's not going to be needy. He's not going to be swooning over her again because he doesn't like her. He's not going to be blowing up her phone. He's going to be, she's going to have to win him over, right, a little bit. So I do think there are other reasons other than the fact, like, he's not making it super easy for her. He's making it a challenge for her. So I do think there are other things that make a girl attracted to a guy who doesn't like them, aside from that fact. Like, I just think that a guy who doesn't like a girl is also going to have a host of other attractive behaviors that the girl is going to be. It's like the whole thing. Like, why are girls attracted to assholes? Like, if you ask a girl, most girls won't be like, yeah, I really like me an asshole. Very few girls will actually say that. But pretty much every girl is attracted to assholes and is not attracted to, like, the nice guys. And I use the word nice, I mean, like, nice guys. I don't mean like someone who's kind and a good human being. But so why are girls attracted to assholes? Well, it's not because they're actually an asshole. It's because a guy who's an asshole is typically very confident, right? He's very assertive. He's usually more dominant. He's usually not needy. So they're attracted to other behaviors, but they say they're like assholes. So that's kind of like my little side tangent to kind of bring this full circle. So do either of you guys play hard to get on a first date? Me personally, I don't really play hard to get, but I focus less on that and more on sexual tension. So my goal, if I want to sleep with a girl, is just build a lot of sexual tension. And part of that is not making it super easy. Like, if I say to the girl within 5 minutes, like, hey, you want to go back to my place and smash? That kind of kills the sexual tension, right? But if I just slowly tease it, like, she's not sure, like, meh, like, that's what I focus on. And part of building sexual tension is being a little hard to get, but I just make my focus the sexual tension rather than the hard to get part. But anyway, sorry, I know I just kind of went on a tangent.
Well, the thing is that acting in a masculine way makes a woman sexual. Like, when you act masculine, it makes her act feminine, and that naturally creates a sexual chemistry. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that, like, a lot of it's kind of like, you have to understand what goes through a woman's mind. When I said about the whole taking 1 or 2 weeks to text after sex, you have to understand what goes through her mind. Like, she's wondering, what the fuck? I have good pussy. Why isn't he texting me back? Or better yet, you might also give her the chance to text you. She might say, that's it, man. You know what? I'm gonna text this guy. This guy's taking too long. Hey, Alex, how are you? You're doing two things. One, you're giving her the chance to chase you by making her wait, because you're testing her patience, her ego, right? And two, you're communicating to her that you have other things to do. But then when you text her back, you apologize. You say, hey, I'm sorry. I was busy with this. Blah, 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 blah. You actually validate her. You say, hey, it was great meeting you. I didn't mean to do that. I was just so busy with this, blah, 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 blah. If she still gets pissed off, that's her problem, because look, anger goes away. Anger goes away. Like, if she's mad at you, she'll stop being mad. In fact, if she's mad at you, good. That means she's emotionally invested in you. It's good that she's mad at the fact that you didn't text her, But just make sure to apologize and give her a reason why, so that she doesn't retaliate and does the same thing. But it's not 100%. It doesn't work all the time.
Yeah, like, again, I would say we agree to disagree on this one, and that's okay. We can have different opinions. In my mind, like, it's at best you're adding unnecessary complexity to the situation, because if you have sex, that means the girl likes you. You're riding a high. Use that incentive, use that kind of high to make another date, lock shit in, instead of, like, adding unnecessary complexity, like playing this game, which could backfire, because the girl could, move on. Like, she might, okay, this guy hasn't texted me in a week. I'm just going to, a week later, she meets another guy she has sex with. And so there's like all these potential this could backfire. So to me, I just see it as an unnecessary risk almost.
I don't know. I'm you gotta understand, bro, is that meeting another guy, most likely she's just gonna meet a needy guy. Like,
sure.
Like you can't worry about the competition. You gotta worry about doing right, due diligence, like you say. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's just that I don't think, like, guys don't understand how much it hurts their ego. Bro, if it hurts your ego, do it. You have to destroy her ego. That shit will make her.
I just think that once you've actually fucked a girl, like there's no need for these games. Like I just think that, like, well, I don't know. To me, like,
I remember when I told you, good at getting the girl, wasn't good at keeping them. Remember when I told you that, right? And I used to do that all the time. But then when I actually started doing this, all of it started. I mean, it's what I say. I've tried everything. I've experimented, and I know you tried a lot of things too. But for me, we could agree to disagree. But for me, doing this, for some reason, it works better. I don't know why. It just works better. But I tell guys, try a whole bunch of different styles and see if it works for you. You know, because there's just so many of them out there.
Yeah. I guess this is just, I don't want to like beat this horse to death, but yeah, I think this is one you and I agree, disagree on. Okay, let's jump to the next one. I think this is a question you and I could have an hour-long debate just on this question, but I think let's just try to get to a few other questions. Yo, guys, we've been going for like over 2 hours, so we're going to take maybe a few more questions. So if you guys have any questions, get them in now. Okay, so there's like a lot of ones, so I'm trying to narrow this down. Okay, so poor communication and the fact that people still can't drop the ego and take everything personal. God never feel offended by anything. Usually it's not you anyway. So yeah, definitely very true. You don't want to feel, be someone who gets offended easily. Like I tell people this all the time. You can't offend me. I'm pretty much unoffendable. Cause like I have, the girl who I've been hooking up with, she'll be like, Alex, sorry to offend you when I say that. I'm like, no, you can't offend me. Like I'm unoffendable. So I do think it's good to be unoffendable, basically.
Well, oh boy, here we go. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
Here we
go. Because you gotta understand, women like disappointing you. Women don't like offending you. When they feel like they offended you, they're gonna try to make it right. And it puts them in a submissive state. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Blah 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 blah. It's a fun thing to do for them to try to figure they fucked up. They like rescuing.
Dude, it really depends on the girl. Like a girl who's emotionally unhealthy will do that shit. She will try to push her buttons and stuff like that. A girl who's emotionally healthy, like this is why I think screening is such a big part of my game and should be a part of everyone's game. Like for anything more than a one night stand, like I don't want a girl who's gonna play weird games with me and do try to push my buttons. I want a girl who's chill, who likes my company. Now, does that mean that all rules go out the window? You can be a slob, and obviously I'm still, I'm not needy. I'm still confident. I'm still dominant and all that. But I don't like a girl who I'm seeing who I have to constantly game. I just like a girl who's straight up, who doesn't play these games. So I think it really depends on the girl, and it depends on the guy too.
Can I ask you this? What do you mean offend? Let's get that straight. What do you mean offend?
Like a girl who will will push buttons, will basically say shit to try to get a rise out of you. I'm like, I hit his ego, right? Like, I got him, right? A girl who will play that game, or a girl who does not want to play those games because she doesn't see a point to any of that. And she thinks it's silly, and she'd rather, provide good emotions than try to play these weird power games, right? There's so many girls who will play those games, right? So I 100% acknowledge that this happens. I just think it's important to screen those girls out of your life. Like you said, you have zero tolerance for certain things. This is one thing I have zero tolerance for, is these stupid power games. I have no tolerance for that. If a girl who I'm seeing does that, it's done. Maybe I'll give her one warning, be like, hey, listen, I noticed you've been trying to push my buttons on purpose lately. That's a huge turnoff for me. Please don't do that again. If she does it again, that's it. Done.
I was seeing a girl, and she went out on a date, Well, it wasn't like on the bar. It was like she was coming to my place, and I was like, "Yo, man, like I know you, but you gotta let me know you're gonna be an hour late. You can't be doing that. So I like you, but next time you do that, you know, it's better off to do it another day." She came over then, I mean, she was 1 hour and a half late, and I was like, "Yo, like you clearly didn't understand what I was saying. Like I apologize for that." She was like, "I'm not gonna apologize. I was just late." And I was like, "You know what? Just go home. Just go home." She had big old titties though, humongous titties. Bro, this bitch was one of the hottest girls I've ever seen. But I was like, "Fuck this. It's not about. It's about that she knows what she was doing and she was testing me. So go home. I'm not dealing with that. I rather
Yeah.
get the pussy and have her respect me than get the pussy. I prefer the respect over pussy. Because yeah, I didn't get the pussy. Don't get me wrong. But you know what? Deep down, she respected that. I prefer that.
No, I see what you're saying. For me, I would just, for me, it's more about like standing by my principles. But yeah, I see your point. Like, for example, I had a situation where this girl who I was hooking up with, like, we hooked up. This was, I think, our second hookup. And she was hot, great sex, like a big titty Asian girl, which, as we all know, is a unicorn, right? And she was like, the second time we hooked up, she's like, okay, get me an Uber back. Now, if she had said, "Hey, Alex, can you, I for whatever reason can't get an Uber, can you get me one?" Not a problem. Like I'll get it. I'll get it. Like anyone who I've had sex with, I'll get you an Uber. It's not a big deal for me. Because she demanded, I was like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Yeah, I gave you pussy. You got to give me an Uber." I was like, "No, like I don't owe you an Uber." Like, and she's like, "Well, if you don't give me an Uber, I'm not gonna come over here and fuck you again." And I was like, "Okay, well then don't come over here and fuck me again. Bye." Like I was rather like stand by like my principles than get easy pussy. So I definitely relate to what you're saying.
100%. The thing is that I prefer. I always say this, man. It's kind of like I value self-respect over pussy any day. You
Right,
know,
right.
100%. Especially if you're talking to women who know your friends and who are part of your social circle, even more because they'll talk about you, and and women will hear how you know to her just for. Well, actually, women will lie about the story, so never mind. Like, they
No, I
won't
mean,
say that they won't, you know.
no, man, I do think that what's it called? You got to be able to like have principles that you stand by, right? Like and you can't like what's really cringe is watching a guy who's just bending over backwards just to get pussy, right? Like that shit is cringe to girls, it's cringe to guys. The guy's just saying or doing anything. He's like he needs that pussy, and he's like willing to like he's willing to kill his grandma to like get his dick wet. Like those situations.
I
Like
just gotta
that
go.
shit is always cringe. Like people just lose respect for you if you're like that guy. So to me, like yeah, if it's a hot girl, of course I want to have sex with her, but I'm not willing to break my principles. Yeah, like or just willing to like yeah, like almost disrespect myself. Like like that like, again, like that girl who's demanding an Uber. It's not like a big crime or anything, but if like I don't respond to like threats or demands. So if you demand something of me, chances are I'm not going to do it. Now, if you ask me nicely, I'll most likely if it's a reasonable request, I'll do it. But again, it's just like her attitude. Like no, like I'd rather just like stand up for like my principles rather than like be a slave to pussy. But that's actually funny that we're on this topic. This is something I see, which is a trap a lot of intermediate and even advanced guys fall into. They become a slave to pussy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're willing to like cancel on their friends. They're willing to do anything, put their work aside to get laid, even though they've had sex with a lot of women, right? And I think that becomes a trap. This is something that like my business partner Indian P is guilty of, and I've talked to him about this multiple times. When you become like like a slave to pussy, right? It's like no, dude, like don't let that shit control you, like I don't know. So that's kind of like my take.
No, I agree 100%. Jack off
Um,
better jack off than to have women control you.
unless you're doing no fat like me. How do you
Yeah,
spot
no.
choosing? So let's
Mm-hmm.
just quickly ask this. How do you spot choosing signals and examples? So how do you personally spot choosing signals, Alex?
Well, it depends on the context. We're talking school or a social setting. Usually, the woman is friendlier to you. When you talk to her, she has a bigger smile. Um, she it's not hard to talk to her. You don't have to Google how to talk to a woman when you're with her. Um, She doesn't games. Well, well, that's usually when you have her number. But usually smiling and being receptive to you. That's pretty much it. Smiling and being receptive to you
Yeah, I
for the
mean,
most part.
yeah, no, those are all true. I think in addition, eye contact, I'll add that. Like when a girl's looking at keeping eye contact, that's usually a big one. I'm actually notoriously
Mhm.
horrible at spotting choosing signals. Like it's so often that I'm walking around with like a friend or something, and they're like, "Dude, that girl was looking at you." I'm like, "Oh shit, I missed it." And it is true that if a girl is giving you choosing signals, like your odds significantly increase. Obviously because she's interested in you. So there's an element of truth to that. Now, of course, you can red pill guys say that choosing signals is the only way to do game. That's not true. But yeah, so I would
Yeah.
say adding on that is eye contact.
Eye contact. No, I agree. I forgot about that one. Eye contact and proximity, being close to you.
Yeah,
Um,
proximity for sure. And
yeah,
and and vice
proximity.
versa. If a girl's keeping her distance, that's usually a sign that she's not interested.
Yeah. Or if she's close to you, you'll notice that if she has two earphones on and she's close to you, she will put one ear down, just to invite you. You know how we do it with women, like we put our earphones down and hopefully, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Coffee shop, she'll sit close to you. Or you'll notice that she'll sit in a way that points in your direction. Like, just notice what you do when you find a girl that's hot. Like, literally, just notice that. Like, you pretty much the same shit. Like, just it's pretty much the same shit. You'll notice your body is
Girl,
more lean
yeah, girls
facing her and everything.
will on average be more subtle than men because they're more socially in tune and they care more about their reputations. But yeah, girls will be a
Mm-hmm.
bit more subtle. But yeah, I agree with your point.
To a
Hey,
lesser, well, of course, it's like to a lesser intensity.
yeah, exactly. Hey, Alex, how do you handle a girl on the first date bringing up all her faults on the first date, bringing the vibe down? Faults include health issues, living situation, etc. What's your take on that?
Jesus Christ. I'm changing the topic, man. Jesus Christ, man. If a woman starts talking about how her mom, fuck that. I'm listening to it. I'm gonna be listening to it. I'm like, yeah, I'll say how something bad happened to me. I'll go along with her vibe, to be honest with you. I'll play along with her. I'll start talking about shitty things in my life and whatever, because you want to mirror her. If she wants to talk about shitty moments, talk about your own shitty moments. Connect with her, connect with her. Make up shit that's like shitty, that's not real. The point is, you want to go with her vibe to a certain degree. If that's where she wants to take it, then we'll take it that we'll take it there. And then I'm gonna invite you back to my place. But if she's talking about how, like, health issues, like, what do you mean health issues? Like
Yeah,
fucking,
yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think it definitely depends on like the details, like like.
Yeah.
But in most situations, unless it's something like like death or like whatever, like severe health issues, if most things, I would just like probably use this as a like I respond with humor. I would probably put my hand on hers and be like, "It's okay, I'm here for you." Right. But again, you can't do that if it's like death or something like that. But as long as it's something that you can, I would probably respond with humor if it is something that you can joke about. If it is something that you can't, like health issues, then I would, it's like actual health issues. And I would probably respond kind of what you said, on mirroring and talking about my own shit. But then I would try to move it to a more positive. Like my dates are like, if you watch my dates, they're very like lighthearted. Like it's all like, it's sexual tension and it's jokes. That's really like basically what I do, which actually kind of
Mm.
leads me to the next question. Alex, what do you do when you pull girls home? So I'll let you take this one first. What do you do when you pull chicks home?
My main method is finding any excuse. Any excuse. I use my excuse now as my art. I'm like, hey, I'm an artist. You want to see my paintings? She was like, yeah. I'm like, as long as you don't send me, I'll see my paintings. All right, let's go. And I just do that. Before art, it used to be, to be honest with you, bro, they know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, of
So it's
course.
kind of like just bring up any excuse. Any excuse could work. It could be, let me
But
show
I
you
think
this.
I think the guy is asking not what do you do to pull girls home, but what do you do when the girl is back at your place?
Well, I don't kiss girls on the date. I kiss them only when they're back in my place. That's the first
Okay.
thing. Because it's kind of like, if you don't go home with me, I'm not kissing you. I'm not validating you. Okay. The only way I'm gonna kiss you is if you go home with me. I'm gonna make the move there. That's where I make the move. Now, don't get me wrong. It's okay look, bro. I break those rules sometimes. Like when I know it's gonna, I'll kiss her on the date. But when I'm not sure, I'll wait till we get home. you know. And once we get home, I'll usually just see where I'll sit down. I'll sit down first, and I'll try to, as soon as possible, sit down and see where she sits down, just to see where she is emotionally. If she sits far away from me, I'll keep it there, and then like 15 minutes later, I'm like, hey, come here, man, get closer, man. Let's chat. You know, just find some excuse for her to sit to you, and I'll, say, come here, sit right here. And if she doesn't, then I said, if she doesn't sit with me, I'm like, all right, okay, this is not going nowhere. Not comfortable with me enough, okay. But that's pretty much the strategy. I just ask him back, and once she's back, I'll go for the kiss there. And one of the things that I try to do to see whether or not she wants to kiss me is that I'll all of a sudden act like I'm taking something out of her hair. You know, when you have a lint in your hair, okay?
Yeah.
If she doesn't flinch back, usually it means she wants to be kissed. Like it just, I don't know if you've ever noticed that. Like, you know, when somebody touches you and
No,
you're not comfortable.
I do. It's funny you say that because I definitely know what you mean. That's like a big, actually, what's a big thing I do is like, yeah, girls back in my place, I'll just casually, while she's talking, brush her hair back, right? And I won't address it. I'll just do it, and I'll keep the conversation going. And I see how she responds to that. So yeah, 100%.
Yep. It's a good indication of how comfortable she is. Comfortable
and attracted. So if, like, for me personally, no, like for me personally, when the girl's back in my place, there's really only three things that I focus on, and I think these are only three things that matter. One is comfort, right? So is the girl comfortable? If she seems uncomfortable, like, is she like standing or does she sit by herself? What is her body language like, right? Like, what is she doing, right? And so if there's a lack of comfort, it's really a threshold thing. Like, once you have enough comfort, you're good. But if she's uncomfortable, I'll always offer a girl a drink, right? I'll offer a girl a drink. But if she's uncomfortable, I'll probably chill a little bit before I make a move. Another powerful thing you can do is I'll always play music, but typically if I sense the girl's a little uncomfortable, I'll ask her, hey, what's your favorite type of music? And I'll put on her favorite music because, like, she feels positive, good emotions when she hears that music. And if I play her favorite song, she's going to feel those emotions again. And that's going to get me a lot of comfort and good emotions just simply by doing that. If a girl is already comfortable, I'll just put on one of my playlists, my shitty Justin Bieber playlist. So that's the first thing I focus on, comfort, right? And that will determine how fast I escalate. Do I start making out with her within the first few minutes, or do I give it half an hour to an hour? Second component is sexual tension. Again, also a threshold thing. Now, of course, we all know that a lot of sexual tension makes the sex better, but I just want there to be some sexual tension before I start escalating, because that makes the whole thing better. And sexual tension, you build through eye contact, proximity. I have content on that. And the third thing is just escalating, like moving things forward towards sex. Those are literally the only things I focus on, like when the girl's back to my place. And again, the first two is just a threshold thing. Is there enough comfort? Is there enough sexual tension? Yes, okay, you're good to escalate.
Well, that makes sense. I like that. You're more systematic about it. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, well, I would say I'm not that systematic. It's just that when I have to explain these concepts, I have to, like, for me, it's very, at this point, it's very natural. Like, it's just like, I don't even, like, when I have a date, like, I don't think about, oh shit, what do I do now? She's forward. It's all like autopilot, right? But it's like, I often have to backwards engineer what I'm doing to explain it to guys who, like, don't understand. So that's like kind of where the analytical side comes in. Okay, let's take this question. Hey, Alex, how do you feel about clubs, especially for younger guys? Places like the Wharf, if you have been. That's funny. I go to the Wharf all the time. Wharf is not a club, though. It's like a lounge. But yeah, I don't really like clubs. I do like chill bars / lounges where you can have a conversation. What about you?
I'm not a, like, if I had to stay up too late, I like my mornings. So I never got into like gaming women in any bars or anything like that. I stick to my lane,
Yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, like, me personally, I'm like the opposite of a morning person. I hate mornings. I wake up at like literally 1 p.m. People usually get a kick out of that when they find that out. But I don't really like clubs. I don't like super loud places. I like, I prefer day game or like evening game, whatever. Like, I like gaming girls at Whole Foods rather than a club. I do like chill bars, like environments where you can have a conversation. I don't like places that are loud or whatever. But a lot of that also comes down to personal strategy. Like, personal preferences. Like some people like clubs.
Yeah, it's kind of like find out what you do most, you know?
Yeah. Let's take like a few more questions. Dude, this is awesome. We've been going for 2.5 hours. Usually like my podcasts are like hour to hour and a half, 2 hours. But this has been a very lively podcast. So I've enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, bro, me too.
Let's just do like a few more questions to end it off. Has online dating ruined humanity? Yes, it has.
Yeah. Social media.
I like this question. What's the best and worst cities to date in the USA? What do you think, man?
I think New York City, bro.
Everywhere.
What
would be your arguments for that?
Because everywhere else I've been to is easier. Just that. I'm here in New York City. I don't understand what the fuck is in the water. Don't get me wrong. I'll get girls here. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it's a little bit harder here, and it's not just me complaining. It's truth. You know, it's just the truth. It's a little bit harder here. So that's
when you say here. When you say here, where do you mean?
In New York City.
Oh, I thought you said that New York City was one of the best, or you mean it's the worst?
Oh, it has a lot of hot girls. For example, if you're doing game, like day game or night game, it's going to be difficult here. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. It just is. You have to be part of a social circle here. If you're not part of a social circle, you're not gonna have a lot of good options. You're going to have to do a lot of game. For New York City, the best game is social circle game. Being part of a club.
Being part of a club, yes. You kind of stop there for a second. Yeah. Are you here, Alex? I lost you. YouTube is like, this is too much value. We gotta throttle this podcast. Yeah, Alex, you there? We can't hear you, man. Okay, let's just bear with Alex for a second. I'll just give while we wait on his thing to load. I'll give my best and worst cities. I think that the best cities in the U.S. are the cities that no one thinks of. Are like the less touristy cities, like places like Pittsburgh and St. Louis and like Albuquerque, New Mexico, like places like that. Due to the fact that I mentioned earlier about like the high value guys leaving and the girls who are hot staying because they don't have as many and not having as many options. I think the worst cities are places that are like super touristy. Well, actually, no. The worst city. Oh, let me add Alex back on.
Yeah. So which ones? I think you traveled more around the country than me. So I'll defer on you with that one.
I found like in my opinion, the worst cities are like probably like San Francisco. For a variety of reasons, but the biggest one is just the ratio there is terrible because all the tech jobs, and tech is mainly men, and it's just hard. San Francisco is a horrible marketplace for dating. Best cities, as I mentioned, are the cities that people don't really go to, like Pittsburgh, Albuquerque, St. Louis, like places like that. But Miami is definitely quite solid. Like I live in Miami and do pretty well. For some reason, when I lived in Austin, I went through like a rampage. I think that a lot of that has to do with me just like being in a period where I was just like actively like just gaming. So yeah, but I think that like places like Vegas, San Francisco, they're not good cities for game in my opinion. Like Vegas, pros and cons, but like people always think, oh, Vegas is the best place for game. No, it's not. There's way better cities in the U.S. than Vegas.
Yeah, I think this is overhyped.
Oh, 100%, dude. Okay. Let's take like 2 more questions. If you're not good at vibing, how do you learn? If you're not good at vibing, how do you learn that?
Let me see. Vibing is like just going with the flow, correct?
Yeah. It's like vibing is like bantering. It's like shooting the shit.
Shooting the shit? I mean,
like actually, sorry, I didn't explain it. No, vibing is like banter. It's building rapport. That's the best way to explain it.
Building rapport. Let me see what you have to say on that one first.
If you're not good at vibing, how do you learn that? Well, honestly, it's kind of as much of a sellout as this answer is. I would just say practice. Like really, just practice shooting the shit with girls. And also, I think the problem a lot of guys have is they set the bar too high. So like you're probably good at vibing with your friends, like your close friends. You can just shoot the shit for hours and you can vibe with your friends. But you're not good at vibing with girls. It doesn't mean you don't have the skill to vibe, because if you can do it with friends, you have the skill. It's just that you're putting all this like pressure on yourself to be good at vibing, and thus you're not able to say anything. So taking the pressure off yourself, like when I go on a date, I don't have any pressure on myself, or like close to zero pressure. Whatever, girl likes me, great. Girl doesn't like me, great. It doesn't matter, like at all, right? But again, that comes from just practice and like setting the bar. Like I don't care.
And I think that's a good mentality. I like to ask myself, how can I have fun right now? Just say, how can I have fun? And you just go with that mindset. Or another thing to do, you know how you say it was pressure? Like you feel pressure, right?
Yeah.
Literally change the way you see this woman. Imagine that you're talking to your pet. Imagine that you're talking to your little sister. Imagine that you're talking to someone who doesn't make you nervous. I go with my dog, Missy. I imagine that I'm talking to my dog. And what's funny is that your behavior changes. You get actually more loose, more relaxed. Imagine that she's like a talking skeleton. Because what's happening is that you don't know how to vibe, but that, like you said, your emotions get in the way. It blocks your natural charisma. You need to find a way to unhinge yourself, to unblock yourself. And what's causing it is that you're seeing her with an image than what your eyes see. You're seeing her through your mind's eye as this fucking God, as a like divine creature from heaven. If you just bring her down to size by managing your dog or whatever, you'll notice your behavior will change and you'll vibe a lot better.
No, I definitely agree with that. This is the Alex 2.0. Have you been to Africa? Why is it that nobody in the pickup community talks about Africa game? Have you been to Africa, bro?
Bro, nobody says, yo, man, let's go to the fucking to pick up bitches. It's gonna happen.
Africa is the last place in the world I would go to pick up girls. One, high HIV risk.
Maybe South Africa.
Yeah, with the exception of South Africa. You're right. South Africa is a completely different, like Cape Town and shit. But I would love to go to Africa for like this. Go ahead.
No, unless you want to pick up safari hoes and women who like safari. What's funny is that if you go to Tanzania, you'll see a lot of white women or a lot of like fucking Americans, not just white women, but like just a lot of Americans who want to live the natural lifestyle. You might find a lot of communes there. You find a lot of women in Tanzania a lot. A lot of what's funny is that, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Some of the hottest women I've been with moved to fucking Africa. Like they moved to Tanzania. Oh my fucking God, bro. This is one Italian. Oh my God, bro. It's because
I don't know a single person who moved to Africa, to be honest.
Bro, women are weird with the places they want to travel to. Okay. I've met two of the hottest I've met to. They went to fucking Africa. They moved to Tanzania for like a year or so. It's because there's like communes there. There's like hipster communes there that people go there and just chill out.
Yeah,
I told you, bro. 70% of women join cults. Okay, women go to.
You mean out of cults, 70% of women are in a cult. You don't mean actually 70% of women join cults. You mean out of cults, 70% are women, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And women just do that shit. Like they'll go to like communes just to meet people and make friends, and they have a lot of communes in Tanzania. So that's what I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I would definitely want to go to Africa for the beauty, for the safaris, for that experience. Try like I'm sure like there's some bomb ass fucking African food, some cool cultural shit. Like see some like big ass animals, like that all shit is cool. But for game, that would be like the last place I would think to go. I would go to like for game, it would be Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, or South America. Easy. Like it would not be like fucking Africa at all.
Like what part of Europe?
Eastern Europe, like I would go. Like I've been to Poland, I've been to Finland, I've been to Czech Republic, Hungary. All those places are great.
Which one has the women with the fattest asses?
If you want the fat asses, then Poland is not. Then Europe is not the place for you. You got to go to South America. If you big tits, you can find. Well, I mean, you can find fat asses there. Don't get me wrong, but we're talking averages. You want the big booties, which is what I'm very much into. South America.
South America. I don't know, man. Amsterdam, bro. Some big bitches there, bro. I'm telling you. I don't think you've been there.
I know, I definitely have not. I'll fully admit, I've been to Amsterdam Airport.
Bro, if you go to Amsterdam, you're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be shocked. You ever see? They're like the black. They're like the white people. They're like the African version of Europe. They got fat asses there, bro. That's why I love going to Amsterdam.
I'll have to check it out. You know, it's funny, when I was younger, I used to like fantasize about going to Amsterdam for the weed. Like, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go to this place. I'm just gonna be able to smoke weed in public. And now, like, you know, things have changed. So now you can like smoke weed anywhere pretty much in the US. So now like that big motivation is like gone, right? Because I don't need to go to Amsterdam to like smoke up a joint in public, right? I can just walk around. I mean,
yeah.
But yo, dude, this has been awesome. We've been going for over 2.5 hours. So, yo, guys, thank you for everyone who tuned in. I'm surprised this podcast actually didn't get a lot more live viewers. Hopefully a lot of people wind up rewatching it, which I think they will. We definitely had some like pretty epic debates and like back and forths.
Yeah, bro, it was fun. It was really cool.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. So if people want to support your work, people want to learn more about you, how can they go about like, you know, finding it?
Well, I have a course for men. It's called Dark Game, where I pretty much, right? Where I pretty much like, I don't teach it on YouTube, I teach it there, because if you teach a shit there on YouTube, you get banned. So if you want to learn more about the strategies that I teach, you could go to my YouTube channel for Attraction, and you could purchase that course in the description of every one of my videos. And yeah, you know, you just follow me there. Attraction.org is my YouTube channel for men.
Dude, I'm curious myself.
Dude,
I'm curious myself. I'm curious about what kind of dark shit you have in your course. I have a pretty dark sense of humor, so I'll probably get a kick out of it. And yeah, man, I mean, you're pretty active. Like, your YouTube channel is fucking blowing up. You're a 250,000 subs.
Yeah. On the women, I almost have 300,000, and on the men, I have like almost 100,000. I'm lucky, bro. I'm really lucky. You know, I'm really, really grateful about the fact that people watch me. You know, it's like, it's crazy, right? That people watch us. You know, it's kind of crazy.
It does blow my mind, but you know, like if you have a 250,000 subs, then clearly you're doing something right, because you can fool a few people, but you can't fool like, well, I guess you could, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of fake artists out there, right? It's a lot of fake ass people out there. Crazy.
No, it is definitely a trip. This started happening to me around the summer. Like, sometimes people recognize me on the street, which is like really weird for me, when people are like, hey man, I like your YouTube channel. And like, I love that. Like, you know, I'm like, yeah, awesome, cool, nice to meet you. But like, it's a trip, because that's never happened to me in my life. So I'm sure that happens to you as well, like walking around New York and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, and it's good that it's a lot of women that do that.
Okay, so that's the big difference between you and I. For me, it's 100% men. So I gotta get into teaching women, because I'd rather have chicks
funny?
than dudes.
Bro, what? One time I was watching RSD, and he was like, yeah, I noticed, but I have a lot of male groupies. And I was like, no shit. But then I'm like, wait a minute. He got male groupies because he teaches men. What happens if I teach women? I think about teaching women at that time. That just came to my mind. But it's kind of like, obviously, if you teach women, you're going to have female groupies. It's just how it is, you know?
Right. I get approached even when I don't dress well, to quote RSD Tyler. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We got some interesting things in the work. We're going to be having Alan, I keep forgetting his name, Roger Curry on. That's in the works, so we got a lot of good stuff. Tune in, check out Mindful Attraction channel, a lot of good stuff there. All right, thank you guys, and until next time.